When you know, you know. Yeah, this is a knowing different. I don't know now. It's like I can see it all, but now it's every day I'm like, oh, connecting. And I promise you, people, the spiritual aspect of this, of you, the soul, you are on a soul journey and you truly are a child of God. You're exploring his creation with him at the same time. The Bible playing out, yeah, but Bible was like second draft, third draft, fourth draft. Technology is our Bible now. The movies, Hollywood, Hollywood. The movies itself is just the ongoing biblical truth, just sharing truth, not about one event, the truth, the whole world, bringing everyone's awareness to a full connection now. And it started with the Bible. And you're going to see that this will make more sense for people to grasp once you start viewing it. And I'm going to have to say it's 5D, let's say 4D. And that'll make sense too. Not all these wishy-washy interpretations of it. 4D is quite easy. It's levels. We're just going down the levels, and you're going to see how people have had more control. When you're going to hear about intelligence and how they drew maps and all the different things that you can't, how they made the pyramids and how they made these structures so big. All of it's going to make complete sense when you see this. So the first word I want you all to take in today is spirals. Spirals. And even the logos. Like this whole plan has been mapped out by people. And it had to be through God's working through people. So the people didn't know what they were doing half the time. Creation. But spirals, flat earth, that topic. I'm going to show you also, here's another thing. When you change the perspective is also levels, dimensions. I'm going to show you how God's creation outside of ourselves, like buildings, like symbols, are actually an extension of us too. As soon as you start viewing life like that too, it makes sense. So a pyramid, let's start with a pyramid. You are a pyramid. If you looked at your body, the point at the top is your head. And if you looked at the eye in the sky, that's above your head. That's your spiritual being. That's God. That's your soul. If you then look at the Christ consciousness, Jesus had a sun above his head. That's his halo. So that's the all-seeing eye. That's the spiritual being. The all-seeing eye then comes down, comes into the temple, goes through the mind first, the mind's eye, the all-seeing eye, the third eye. Then it's like a bungee jump. You go all the way down to the bottom. And then as you come back up, you're learning your lessons. So as you come back past the heart center, which is 4D, but it's mind, is love and creation. And this is, as soon as you get above love and creation, and you can look at it everywhere. Anyone that's coming at you now, angry, triggered, frustrated, argumentative, they're not in 4D, that space. So you can leave them down there. Look, if you want to come up, meet me at love, meet me at peace, meet me at joy. If not, I'm now viewing it downwards from a spiritual aspect. I'm still on the same level as them, but they're not coming up to my space, and I'm definitely not going down there. That's hard work. It's taken me a while to get back up here again. And then there's the God space right at the top. And the thing is, God space, people, and many of you are now hitting that in the meditations. God space cannot be explained to people unless they're there. And what I realize now, if we look at the overall story, the way that the world had formed, and we start with Israel again, you're going to see it all clearly today. The way that the world was formed, it was a yin and a yang, and there would have been people in that time that couldn't connect with God. And you got people like Jesus, like Rick Slick walking around and stuff, everyone attracted to him, and they're like, I can't even do that myself. And then they go after people like that. Creation. Everything in this world is creation. If people can't get into the God space, because that's the free will, the will of the man, that's where you have to do the work. Then you always can only take the truth of other people. So this duality is going to come in really beneficial today as well. And if you're not in that heart space anyway, that's creativity. This may really be struggling for some people to even grasp. Oh, bullshit, rubbish, no way, that's not true. Any sort of reaction like that, instantly, you're not up there at all. Because love is being open to all things. hearing it out first. And I'm confident that people will stay on this call today, because even people that have got themselves stuck in difficult situations, everyone that's stuck in this human experience, like life and death, as soon as you see the higher perspective, you're going to go, oh my God, we come back again. But this time we know. When we get stuck in 3D, it's when we die. And because at that moment, we're not aware, we're unconscious, we come back again in a 3D body again. We choose, but it's all like we have to remember. If we get out of thinking from the body and come straight to the soul, you're going to see everything changes, everything. And you live life in 3D because we chose the human experience, but you're taking everything you're creating in your meditations, the soul, the speed of light. The light shows you the way, Christ. When you're conscious, you are Christ. Christ conscious. That's 2 levels down. Then Christ conscious inside the body. That's 3 levels down. It's magic, people. So 2 steps up, 2 steps down, 1 step up. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. If you change the direction of it, it's the same format every time. So I'm going to play straight away. I'm going to get into it. I've got a nice number of people watching on there. So again, set and placement. Place in your mind today. If your mind gets triggered, instantly that's ego. You're not in that love space. Love is just being calm, enjoyment. I'm going to ask people to start looking around now when you are bringing information into your psyche, when you're bringing information into your mind. You are a gatekeeper now. Are you taking on the information from the energy that is delivered to you from the gatekeepers, from the truth tellers? Because the information is still the information. Your perception of it has to change, is the way you're viewing it from your vantage point. Because when people say we and our and they and them, we're not always talking from the same team. So because you are always listening from your viewpoint, they say they are bad, the Freemasons. You think we're on the same team, say they are bad. Freemasons, after this explanation today, you're going to see that's why they've been hiding it from us. It's God. It's all God. Freemasons, they leave the clues in plain sight. Yeah, for us, because it's an ongoing story and we get a choice every time we come back. Actually, I'm going to take some time out this time. I'm going to enjoy my experience of why I come here. And I think once people get a taste of that God space, of the overall war, you'll start seeing there's so much more meaning. Every day you're learning about yourself. You're remembering all the things that took place in your life and why they've come back to you at this time. So yeah, it's magic. I love the way you look at words. It's completely changed my perspective on them. Once I'm loving recently is impossible. I'm possible. Yeah, I love that. Even change I am. The I am is the confirmation. You say it 3 times. Nothing can stop that. And I realize as well, people, you've always been guided by God. Always. Your whole life, you've been put into these pockets of darkness. You just blend in. And people know that you're God's child from a spiritual aspect. There's evil people that do everything they can to corrupt you. But you have to give them a reason to. So if you turn up yourself, you treat everyone the same way, you show interest and time, you appreciate them, you notice them, you'll end up finding that certain people stay with you as long as they can, or they leave you because you're too nice to even disrupt. The moment your ego gets in, or you badmouth them, or you chat about them with your friend, just know those words are getting around, and it gives them a reason now, right, I'm going to screw them over at some point. We don't know that cause and effect they control. They put the words in your mouth, the legal system. They get you to volunteer to do things. It's all unlawful. Mortgages, parking tickets, insurance. It's all free will. The word is the law. So I resonate. I'm going to hope you're going to carry this resonation all the way through this. So let me just get straight into it. So peeps, it's great watching Donald Trump. It's great watching the movie. Use it as the movie, as educational purposes too. Actually watch that part of the movie, because half of it is events that's already taken place. A lot of it is completely made up. I'm going to go even one further, that Russia, China, USA, UK have had people from the start, and I'm going to say the start of the 1776 era, for this plan in the making. So all these war conflicts between us, I'm going to say there was a partnership going on a long time ago. It's amazing. Right, let's get on. And again, 222. And again, as I go through it all, watch it first before. So the first question, Stalin. Remember Stalin? We're told about him. What's the instant thought that goes off? What about Winston Churchill? What natural thoughts go off? Israel, Palestine at the moment, what thoughts go off? And that's another thing. Pay attention to reactions of truthers at the moment. There was a split when Sound of Freedom come on. And we saw loads of people started acting funny. Loads of people got caught out. Loads of people just changed. And you could tell they're not on the same team. And then there was a lot of people that went with Sound of Freedom, said, yeah, it is bullshit. And they're exposing it all. And I felt it was like the different levels of corrupt people. There's some that just can't get out of that angry state. And there's only so much they can go up to. And then there was some that can. And maybe their crime is fraud, or maybe their crime something that they can't face up putting it out there. So it will come back. All of it comes back. And I saw the split. I'm seeing the split again now as we get up towards Israel and Palestine and kids dying and Hamas. And it's disgusting. If you don't support, same thing. Is if you don't support one thing, then you're wrong about the other thing. And that's what we saw at the Sound of Freedom. You've got to make a decision. Before that, there was mostly the COVID and there's different levels. So again, levels. Watch how we're going straight back up to Israel. So there's so much to learn from all of what happened exactly. And you know what? I think the biggest thing for all of the last few years, if you stepped out to look into the truth movement, what we've really done is stepped into this new technology of downloading information, consuming information, managed to deal with so much going on. To do that, you have to be more present. It'd be too overwhelming. You get a brain overload. But because you're literally, there's a will to go and learn, there's a will to find out the truth, there's a will to see how we've been screwed over, you're open to pull in more information. To get to the next level is love. You have to open your heart next because it draws in more information. It's energy. If you sleep now, I've realized as well, energy is light. If you sleep with a mask on your face, you pull the blinds down. If you had any sunlight that comes in, you'll still wake up at sunrise because it'll shine on your body at some point. It'll wake you up. It's universal. Light is the thing that all this comes back to. Illuminati, illuminated one, the eye in the sky. So let me show you my last video that I did, 15 minutes of it. And then I don't have to repeat myself all the time. My intuition is on overload. Okay, so I'm gonna give you intuition a little break and know that intuition is your third eye. Your soul, your illumination is managing to take the weight off of your third eye now. And it can really illuminate and start looking all over into the dark places. So this will make sense now. Yesterday it was like Mauna Kea is the highest mountain in the world. I'm like, no, it's not. I was up there. Like it was about 13,000 feet. It's not the highest mountain. I was up there. That's wrong. So then I looked in and I was like, highest mountain, and it was like Mauna Kea. Like the world's tallest mountain technically is not Mount Everest. This is last night after I did this meditation, by the way. So Mount Everest is the tallest mountain above sea level. But if we're talking sheer height base to summit, then the tallest mountain is Mauna Kea, the island of Hawaii. Here's our breakdown of it. Look, and then the number 33. So this puts the total height of Mauna Kea about 33,500. It was 33.4 feet. I'm going to go with that. So 33,000 feet. Like, so nearly a mile taller than Everest. So I'm sitting there, it's like, whoa, fancy that. All the mountains that I've been up, that was the tallest one in the world. And I said about the stars and stuff. And I was thinking, what does that mean above, from bottom of the sea to above the sea? Am I at the same height then when people climb 33,000 feet and you hear people dying on Everest? And am I at the same height as them? Are we starting from the same foundation, like a flat thing? And I was trying to work that out. So that got me thinking yesterday. So I said, okay, so that was above sea level from the bottom of sea level. So I go, okay, what's the country at the lowest, below sea level then? Is there a country? Have a guess what country it is. So I typed, so that was the highest point above sea level, from the bottom of sea level. What's the country bottom? I'm going to go with it anyway. Israel. And I had this moment. I'm like, what? So Israel is 414 feet below sea level. So I'm like, bottom of the earth. This is how my mind was thinking to start with. I'm thinking, bottom of the earth. What's at the bottom of the earth? Is that hell? And they're all fighting at the bottom of the earth. And then all of a sudden they realized, and I'm all these different things are going through my head. I'm thinking, okay, so let me search into it then. So what is the lowest point on earth? And it was top 10. Right at the bottom was the Dead Sea, Israel, which is about 10 kilometers. Look, at 33.7% of the devoid layer. So I'm thinking there's a lot of 33s in here as well. So Dead Sea, Israel. So now I'm thinking creation. The world that we see is us. And I've always been told that Israel's like the heart of the world. There's something else about it, regardless about the meanings and the label, it's the energy. They call it the Holy Land as well. So you've got the Muslim faith, Jewish faith, and Christian faith, and they all got in Jerusalem. It's now been. So I'm thinking all these different things, like there must be an energy to it there. But it's at the bottom of the earth. And so my head's going like this, and I'm trying to work out how does that make sense in relation to Hawaii then? Because Hawaii is quite a hot country. Egypt's on the equator, not Israel's kind of near the equator, and I couldn't put it together. And I couldn't work out, hang on, this don't make sense a tiny bit. So I do a tiny bit more on there. So instantly my head went to the flat earth model a tiny bit. So I'm saying, right, it's at the bottom of the earth. How does that make sense into it? And at first I'm like, does the world just go upwards? So, you know, when I said that 5D thing, we're looking at a map 3D, 2D. We're not looking at it depth and from God's position going down. So I'm trying to work out, and I come up with this idea yesterday. I'm like, and certain bits didn't make any sense. So I keep going a bit more. So I then look at like, and again, the flat earth, not the flat earth concept was amazing for me because it showed me how much we've been lied to from our maps. But as I've gone into and look at again, people look at the number 33 again. Look, the 10 lowest areas on earth are listed below. We also have a list of 33 countries where lands below sea occurs. I've just shown you 3 articles, 33,000 feet from sea level for the mountain, 33% going down. Now there's 33 countries below sea level. 3 articles. So I'm like, if the storytellers about the narrative and stuff has always been created by God, then, and I've said this for a while, the maps, I've never understood how they did maps. How they made maps? How do we know that they're right? I know Africa's not the size of the map on there. And look at Russia, and it's bloody biggest country in the world, but you say it's China. And so I know maps don't work. And also the flat earth model says that doesn't work. It don't work at all. So watch this, people. This is then I was thinking, right, Israel, I look at it's the desert. It's desert people. It's Arabs. It's hot. If it's at the bottom of the earth, how can it be hot down there? And I'm trying to work out, but at the top of the mountain's cold. So can you see my logic? How does that make sense if doesn't make any sense? So I'm sitting there looking at my map today going, fuck. Apologies. I was like, oh, we're looking at the maps wrong. It's that way. They're spirals. It's downwards. It's depth. And then it hit me like that. Where was the sun born? Look. First of all, that's the Dead Sea. And I like the word dead as well. Christ was dead, right? So I'm like, shit, looking at all this, I apologize for my language, because I don't normally swear. It's got me excited, this has, because it's thrown a whole new dimension on it. So what's this? Oh, where was Jesus Christ born? Bethlehem, Israel, 10 minutes, 10 kilometers from Jerusalem. I've been teaching for a while now, continuing to say to people, Christ is within us, Christ consciousness. You rise within Christ. The Son comes down, the Son of God, comes down to save you every day. You let the Son into your life, which means you have to let God into your life, and then you plant your seed every day. Apple, core, seed, at your root chakra. And then the sun comes up through your body, the straight and narrow path. It goes up your 33 vertebrae. And when you cross over, you die, leaving the human experience, because you're one with the Father. That's a whole spiritual journey. So they're allegories. But those stories had to be written based on the world that we live in too, because everything is a mirror. So the Son of God, we look at it as Jesus Christ, this little dude from Bethlehem's got popped out in the major, and by Mary, and the allegory still, the Son. So watch this. Let's see where people are now. As above, so below. Yeah, this and the other one that I shared today on the Q post, it says up is down, down is up, right is left, left is left. And I was thinking, we look at that about people, and everything we're seeing is back to front. I was also thinking the direction of the earth. Left is left because it's a spiral. Left just keeps going left. That's all you're doing, you're spiraling. So watch this. So Bethlehem, Christ. So for me now, it now makes sense if we look at the map again. So this map, just look at the color of the world as well, because what I didn't get either was how certain countries, like in Arizona where I was, it was 120 degrees every day. But how was the rest of America not like that? I didn't get couldn't work out the path or anything as well. Right, so this is the map that we're showing. I know that's wrong anyway. The world's not flat like that. It's a flat earth. I've said flat earth, flat earth. Let me just show you a flat earth map. I've got a photo of it in a minute. So like this, that's the model that we have been put forward, suggested, and people are, oh no, it's not right, it's not right. It's not right either. However, what's quite interesting, so again, logos, numbers, watch this, people. UN map. So the United Nations map, which we say UN's bad, has got a flat earth on it. And have a guess how many segments are in the flat earth map? 33. So I'm like, so when Jesus dies on the cross at 33 on the 33rd vertebrae, as it comes up, you become king. High king. You go high king. Israel is the highest place to the sun. Not the tallest or anything, highest place to the sun. That's where the sun starts every day. Get rid of time. We're like Australia and did it because we created the clock. And another guy that had a big impact of digitalizing the clock was Harry Truman. So I then go back to this map. So look from 3D or even on this. Let me try to show you a flat earth map as well. But first of all, look at, again, we say it's the equator countries. Look, because you've got all these countries which is all like more deserty and stuff as well. So it starts, if you're closer to the sun, right, you're going to have less green, right? So I'm suggesting that Israel and then the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is right neighboring it, and Saudi Arabia is the biggest funding of evil. We've got Iraq, Syria, Iran. Where's all the wars been? Where's all been evil? So if that was one of the first places, that means society's been there longer, not the timelines that we're told, because we've had to manipulate a lot of that too. But if it's more and more growing and people then venture out, more and more evil then gets around there first too. So try to look at it from a spiritual war, from people having to do messages. And now you've got, there's other lands, but we don't know who they are, where they are. And then you've got people discovering. We're told from our timelines, Egyptians were kind of like the first period. Again, our history, none of it makes sense. But then we had indigenous in Australia, they've been here a lot longer. And you had the indigenous and the Indian natives in America and Canada. And so try to look at it just from this. So again, this is where my mind's going. So allegories. So then I'm starting to look at it like this. Well, how would it make sense with the sun, and how's that over there? Go beyond countries. We've just made it up. It's land. There's mountains. There's depth from ocean layers. Then the sun goes round. So if the sun's the closest there, and again, I have to work on this because there's going to be loads of flaws from it. Now I'm looking at it as steps. It's like step down, steps across to Spain. Then you've got Greece. Then you've got Malta. You've got those countries. But it's at a higher level. So you can call that Europe. You can call that Africa. You can call that Asia. But really, the one continent is the one closest to the sun first. But it's just spread out because there's water and stuff in the way. It's all one land mass or one creation looking down. It's like a cup and or a bucket, and you've got the different. It's only the water that brings us level. So I'm starting to say then the reason why they put Israel in the 1945 because that was the original place and closest to the sun every day. And if you're getting in the way of God, like that would be the first place that people would want to go. Because the Son of God comes there. So from the earth, now it then starts to make sense of how many continents do we have? 7. How many chakras do we have? 7. How many planets originally were? 7. It's like everything mirrors, but it's down. So my thought process now then was, it goes in this kind of circle bit, but let me show the water next. So coming back to that spiral, watch the water, not the land, watch the water. Because if the sun goes down and then comes up, it spirals, then the closer it is to the water, there's less water. So it's like we're going downwards still. So I'm hoping that kind of makes sense because this has set the tone, but I just go over a tiny bit. So again, let us become the viewpoint from at the start of time. Imagine all of that was water that you see there. And then the sun starts in Israel and there's a tiny bit of land there, but it's all flat because they used to think the world was flat. It was all flat. So if these people just ventured out all the way across the deserts as far out they could go, they'd end up in Arizona. Does that make sense? Oh, God, hang on. But they'd end up being out, and this is years and years and years ago. Imagine it was just, so the sun, Bethlehem started there, just this land. Imagine again from the top of a pyramid. Imagine it's the top of the pyramid, and this was just all flat. That was the first base. Or Israel, the top, and then low below, you got all the way over in Australia, all the way in Peru and Chile and Bolivia, the salt flats, parts of Africa. And again, if you can get your head out of countries and look at landmass to start with, there's just points along there. So the sun goes down in a spiral like this. So over time, it reveals a new layer of land. So what I've managed to work out is it's got to a point where America is one of the last lands to be found based on the spirals. And they said if America falls, the world falls because America's at the bottom of the earth. We look at North America, South America, North Pole. Iceland's right at the very bottom, like down. That's why it's cold. Greenland's down. That's why it's cold. But then Australia's far back, but it's so warm because it's up. But you would have never found Australia back in the day because it's so far across. All you see is water. If you're not really an explorer or adventurer, and also if you didn't know that you could actually do that across the water, you just stay with what you know. So the biblical truth and how it all started and the Son of God and Jesus Christ and the story most probably is very true from that point. It's a well-spoken story, and it's a collective mind as well. And that's parts. If that was all there was to start with, again, all these other places that we say different cultures, indigenous. I use Arizona because you've got a lot of the Navajo tribe there. And there was about 70 still tribes. And someone told me about there was a place in the Grand Canyon where you could only get there on horseback or helicopter. And the tribes lived there. You could go and stay with them. Then you've got like Mexico, and you've got the Incas, and you've got Chile and all the plant medicine, and Peru. Australia, you've got the Aborigines. Like, you've got Egypt, the pyramids. Think about that as now chakras, laying flat. It's the different chakras. Israel's the one in the middle. And then spread out all the way down there is Arizona. Down there is Chile. Like, can't get it too exact at the moment, but you're going to start seeing how, when we even look at these maps, so you say, oh, they've lied to us. They've been lying to us. Look what they've been lying. They haven't at any point. It's just our perspective's been wrong. So the globe, oh, it's not a globe. It's not a spinning globe. They're lying. But they built a globe as a new generation to try to explain it's going down. It's just the model was wrong, the way we were looking from it. If you didn't have it as a globe, but just had it as paper, it goes down. So my question to, again, it's the English countries, speaking countries, which seem to be all caught up in this movie, right? It's the English speaking countries in international language. The English speaking countries are the bottom of the world. The most intelligent, the most powerful, is the English speaking countries. Why is that? Because as time's gone down, the people at the bottom are the ones that were the explorers, because everyone else is in their own world. They still think it's flat. They've got their tribe in Australia. We've been here for years, generations. Like, they wouldn't know any different. They all started at the same time. Then obviously the water's lowering down, and then you lose sight of each other. Think of it like that. So it goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up. So now think of your breath. It goes down, it comes up, your pipes. What is in the middle? Your spine. So there's a spine to the earth, and you call them the chakras of the earth. So if you look at things as a jigsaw puzzle, I feel like that's been done creative for us. This is almost a jigsaw puzzle. So if you see my cursor here, look, here's Israel. Right around Israel, it has 4 countries, or 5 if you put Palestine as well. But again, forget countries. There's steps down to Egypt. History tells us Egypt was like the first place, and all the pyramids. How would they build the pyramids? Well, if it took ages for the sun to go down, why were they so good at the stars? Because that's all they had. They had day, night. It's a flat. It's a mirror. Right, there's that. And you've got thousands of years learning that. That's all you know. That is the truth. But as it goes down more and more over time, you're creating these sculptures, you're building, you're creating all sorts of things, learning. And again, we wouldn't have the corruption of the world like it is now, and all the other information, all the mind psyops and stuff. You'd have had a direct connection with God, the universal collective mind. So then you would have had magicians and all this and all the old stories. So hold on to that. Let me come back onto the next one, because all this will start connecting even more. So part of the same, but apart from each other, yes, but only states. Sorry, I think my microphone's just gone. Of countries. So look, let's look at, for example, Africa here. We've got North Africa, South Africa. But it's South Africa and North Africa, which is the hot parts. So I feel it kind of spirals round. And I feel that the Africa is also then a step down to Brazil. It's from Angola to Salvador, which is where I was staying before in 2021. It was an African descent, and it was always Angola. Portuguese, Angola, Brazil. So I feel like there's steps, and because there's so much drop in between, the rest of it is water. So the bottom of the world, America, the story about the Brits and the Constitution, I feel that was all scripted. That was a big part of an act too, because to start with, I look at the small map here, and Great Britain, and even Great Britain and the United Kingdom. I feel at whatever time it got to there was a separation from Europe. So let's say France at that time, because I feel like it goes down through like Turkey into Greece. So you had obviously Athens, and you had Julius Caesar and stuff. And then it goes down towards Italy. That's when we had the Romes. And then like the Roman times, or Spain, then Italy. Look, if you can see on the map, it looks like Turkey, Greece, Portugal, Spain, and then goes lower down to France into, I reckon at United Kingdom, the sun, wherever it would go, is just continuous going to be United Kingdom. And they've mostly come up with a story. Look, we are the last land. We're our own little island. We are the special ones. They would have all been viewing life in 3D apart from the United Kingdom. They're the ones who had all the pirates, all the explorers back in the day were either from France, Great Britain, Portugal, Ireland. So you can imagine all these Game of Thrones and stuff in its distant lands, the other people wouldn't have needed to travel. But what does traveling do? And this is again why the Bible was so limited if you think of God's whole creation. Why is the English language so impactful just from the words that we speak? Every other language we've learned, like if you go to Hebrew and Paleo Hebrew, which we call the first language, it was almost symbols with noises, like reflexes. And then it comes down, and then you've got then obviously China with their writing. And then I now know, which come to me in meditation, the Great Wall of China wasn't just a wall, it was to stop the upper world coming down into the lower world. And they had to then at that point start creating another language completely backwards, because they know whatever happens in God's creation, evil always finds its way. Evil always tries to get there to corrupt, to demonize it, to make money out of it. In every department, that is the Tao. That is the moon chasing the sun, chases it 30 days of a month, and at the end of the month, it realizes, oh, I've got to go back to my truth again. It's a new moon. And then they go again. That's life. Imitators, fraudsters, everything. It's life. And the people in power are the ones that did evil. You can't have power and God. As soon as you have God, you are powerful. As soon as you have God, all you are is love. So you focus on you. The people that couldn't get love, God in their life back in the day, because you can take a horse to it, but you can't take them to the nirvana, or a camel in the back of the day. So they had to do the other way. They don't want to play this game anymore. Again, all the people that went around the world, they learned from all these cultures. God, here's the Asians, and they're into this thing called martial arts, and they're always about being silent. And in India, they're moving their body like yoga. Like that was a kind of the lower levels then, but they were all connected. They all divine. There was a lot of noise going upstairs. So if you look at Saudi Arabia and Israel till last, I'm going to show you how we've managed to get back up to Israel. So all the wars that we've seen, the world wars, it's been from our perspective. Who's the world war? So we'd say 1776, we had that battle in the US, and then it come across and it was the royal family. What other wars did we see with the US back in the day? With Russia. There was always a Russia and America standoff and Britain standoff. The British War, I feel that was a lot of that was scripted too. That was a distraction, Germany and UK. But you're setting all these different wars, and you're then demonizing Jewish people. From all these Jews were killed, and all these things would, and then all of a sudden we can go all the way up to Israel and give them their state again because of all the wars and the way they were treated and stuff. It was like, if you view the world like that, it was nowhere near. And I'm going to show you where Harry Truman comes in. So, set the tone. I thought the English language was just spells. I feel, again, it's all created. Think about it. Creating a language is so intelligent. Like, how have they done that? They've taken all the different things and they've branched out. They can work out all, like making a new car from the 1900s to now. Look how much it's advanced. You had to have the cars and the generations of it and the mistakes and the theft and the car accidents to keep testing. And you keep doing it. That's evolution. That's change. That's the Bible now. The Bible then, we just gave everything. And you give it to people that don't know God. So they will defend that with all they think that's the truth. The truth is you finding out more information about the world outside of you, because that's where it starts. Life starts first from God. God has a child, the son, the soul. Then God, to have the experience, had to create duality. So one level below God is two levels, the yin and yang. And it was the son that always led the way, but it was like a little kid following behind and a little tantrum along the way. The moon and the child. And the ego, the moon, has its different phases. Again, all these things in creation we can see inside of ourselves. Then we've mastered this. This is quite easy. Love or fear, ego or soul, grow or protect, negative or positive. All right, makes sense now. Let me create the next level down from the soul. I've got that. That's pretty basic. So 1D, the soul, 2D, mind, soul, 3D, body, mind, soul, a three-part being. The human experience, our viewpoint, starts at 3D. But we've forgotten 2D, and we definitely are not connected to God most of the time anyway. So we have to go back up first of all to the truth. That's meditation. And then you have the human experience in meditation, which leaves you in 4. That's why there's a jump from 3D to 5D. If you go to meditation, it takes you straight to 5D. And then you just come back down again with your wisdom, with your clarity. And then with that information, the inspiration from your spirit, you've inspired the mind to use the imagination, which then feeds back into the body in magic. So your body is a vehicle, it's a vessel. You have to look after it. It's your ship. You're the owner, ownership. The mind then becomes the partner, the partnership. Partners with the body, the mind and body. It's all in the words, people. So again, the same with the earth, the star in the sky, the eye in the sky. And then the eye comes down into the pyramid. At the top, what's the pyramid? It's your third eye. The second level is your third eye. Why? Because now God is the yin and yang inside. There's God and there's ego, edging God out. It's one or the other. But God came down as the Son, made in the image of him, but he gave him free will. So now you can go your life. You've got a choice, but listen out for me. Look out for the signs. Use my creation. I'm there every moment and every second, all creation, but you've got a choice. And I'm always going to honor that too, because in my game, God's going to win anyway, always, but in my time. So in your time, you have to create it, whatever. So again, we're going to go down. So God's creation now. God needs to know itself. So I can imagine even before that, we're evolving all the time, just creation. Comes all the way up the levels, and then be a moment. And again, you have to let go of dates and stuff because people get attached to someone else's model. Then Jesus Christ, the story, Bethlehem. I reckon there was a land of people. They all then stretched out as far as they can, Australia, Arizona, South America. And then all of a sudden, sun starts going down. And then the water obviously leaves gaps. And then you've disconnected from the rest of the world. And then God's story now is just to keep going down, follow the sun, keep going down. So we don't know what's underneath. That's the ocean of consciousness. The more awareness we get for our surroundings at each level, the further down we go. So again, you start outside of yourself. You learn the world outside of you. You connect with the truth, God, your light. Then by the time it goes into your body, you've had the human experience. You know what feelings are now. And we have to go through a whole spectrum of emotions. That is the shit. How do you know yourself without going through it all? So this darkness now, imagine being at the top of your pyramid. You're looking down into your body. That's dark down there. You don't even know what's down there. But if you send your soul first with a bungee jump all the way down, and you've got awareness now, you can take your time coming up. Enjoy the ride coming up, because what goes down must come up. When you go to jump, you have to bend first. When you throw forward, you have to go back. That's the yin and yang part on everything we do. So a duality is always there, but that's only 3D in the mind. Clever people know that people only operate from duality, so you give them a choice always. You tell them one thing, and then it has to be the other. So they defend the other, like the legal system. Look, this is what we created. It's words. but it's tricking the good people. They don't know that we're going to get them into contracts. We're going to say these words and it has a double meaning. And then they take that on. They adopt a creation and they use it for their advantage, but only to the point when if people wake up to the legal system and legalese and the way that people deliver words through energy, and then if it's not positive, you know it's not a truth, then they have no power in you anymore, and their whole generation have been caught in the lie. So think army, military, just think light. Creation had to come first, but always it gets adopted and adapted by darkness. Always. The moon tries to get the light as much as it can. Every part of this creation then, as it gets revealed, obviously the people that know how the world works, know how God works, they're with God. But soon, quickly behind, evil comes. And I was trying to think of that as well. Before we didn't have the protection because we didn't have the awareness of what evil could do. But imagine if you were just meditating. You're not in the human experience. As soon as you wake up, they kill you. They stab you. And that brought up just the instant. And again, look how my mind works now, people. What's this? So that just golden eye, cheat, heal. Can you remember the game Golden Eye? I remember it. Golden Eye. Look, this, it was a invincible cheat. You would know where people rebirth again. So you go there and wait for them and kill them. And you keep doing that. That's what used to happen. They knew what would happen. They know where you would go. They know it, and they'd wait for you again because you're God. We're stopping you. But as we get bigger, as we venture out, you can't control everyone, but you have to then go and try to find it all. Who's got a creation? Who's got this? So the people that create, let's say military, FBI, any bit of technology will have a backdoor access first. And the way I'm going to go with it today, all the evil, most evil of evil stuff that we're shown, adrenochrome, all of that stuff, the idea has been created by the good guys. Epstein Temple, created by the good guys. And within that, again, like how CIA work. CIA create the systems to get the intelligence, let them do it all, let them think they're on the same side, but you're just building a part to this war. Let me just play this to see if this was part of the game and it stuck with me. Maybe it's not that bit. There's golden gun. It was called a golden gun. And, invincibility. You had a golden gun, so one shot would kill him every time. But people learned where the respawn was. So you just go and shoot them each time. Golden gun, golden eye. It's telling you. See, when you bring awareness to the afterlife and how it changes, yes, it's all this different stuff that's shown to you for a reason. So let me come on to my next one with Harry Truman. So the reason why Harry Truman's so important, and again, all the research I do, and people, they don't want to go to Freemasons, because if they argue with you for Freemasons, then it's bringing God into the equation. You can't argue with it, so they moan at you. And they if you see, I'm quite isolated from a lot of people. They don't share any of this stuff. There's a reason why for it now. The other thing with this war is a continuation. So anything you moan about me and you tell me, well, the Zionists did this and when they did that, and they've been infiltrated. Like I said, God's creation is infiltrated. Look at the world we live in. At every level, it's infiltrated. We know that. Freemasons exactly the same. The illuminated ones, the ascended masters, illuminated, Illuminati, the illuminated eye. So people argue and they tell me about this, and even Tom Hanks, he's a Rockefeller, and all of that is after Harry Truman, all of it. So if it doesn't match the story here, then whatever you tell me after, if it doesn't have anything to link with it, and Harry Truman's plan is what we're all in now, it can't be a truth, or I just leave it there. But what people, they won't do is go and look at my, so people call me out the other day. There was one guy, he tags me, a lot of people do that. They tag me, oh, he thinks that Tom Hanks is a white hat and a Freemason and he's alive. I don't know the guy. I don't like his energy. I don't intend to spend any time communicating with him. I said that in October 2022. So I've been saying it for over a year almost now. So you tag me in it and say, he said that, but not once going to watch it. It's like you don't want the truth. You want to moan at someone that's sharing something, but they don't want the truth. So what I said that for is people are not willing to go back and look at Harry Truman. You got all these truthers that talk about defending the Constitution, and I'm here standing on my rights. Yet let's go back at the start of the Constitution. George Washington, Freemason. Let's look at them coming forward. You can connect all the dots easy when you go back. George Washington was the first president and Freemason. Freemason in a statue, then first president. That order. George Washington was also commander-in-chief. George Washington was the only 10-star general that's ever been there. He was the start of all of this, but commander-in-chief. So every president initially was commander-in-chief. Go beyond just US military. For me now, that was for the world. That was for the dark and light, the battle. But you need to not tell your enemy everything. You need to manipulate the story. They're at the bottom of the world. There's always been a relationship with the UK. So UK, and eventually they found land, Boston. And then they made COVID. Because I was wondering, how did they find all these lands at different times and stuff? It was just as the water went down. And there would have been a long period where it was just Great Britain seemed to be the kingdom. And this is where I think the royal family, having a royal family, and that's where the Commonwealth then works. They go around and take over all these islands that reveal themselves. And there would have been people at a higher vantage point before because it was hotter up there. But as the water comes down, they've then got these white random people walking on, but they got guns. They're more advanced because they've been learning from all the different cultures. So when you've got the Buddha masters, and you've got the martial arts, and then you've got the yogis, that was all the same time, people. It wasn't different periods. It was all the same time. They were just doing their thing. And when the UK eventually get there, they're like in fancy dress. They got all these, but that was the way they advanced with what they had access to. Oh, I don't know how they had more advanced technology than we've ever had now. No, they advanced in their ways. You say that we've got, look at our technology now in front of us. They just did it in their own way, but they didn't have internet. They didn't have knowledge of all these other people. You had certain places like the indigenous in Central America that mostly had plant medicine all the time and was just with God anyway. Why would they have to go and do other stuff? This is God. Like, I've got my family, I've got my life. This is one. Maybe this is, again, these are things you've got to take into place. So if you're not willing to look at Harry Truman, don't come in for an argument. Don't get moany. Don't get, because you're not willing to look. Harry Truman set up everything. I even found out that he was the one who set up NATO all at the same time. He was the no, he wasn't. Yes, he was. He was the 33rd president. 33. Like, their stories, people. JFK's dad, 1920s, had a Hollywood production company called RKO. Hollywood now is Hollywood. To get in there, there's a guild of actors. That's Freemasons. That's a secret. So it's a flowing, updated truth teller. And you do it from different perspective. We say it's so evil, but we're just telling all these other people, yeah, it's evil. They do all this stuff behind closed doors. They're doing all this evil. Some people do, and then there'll be people creating these environments. We take them all. So, hi, Sheila. Good to see you. What about Gematria? Gematria has been used by the mind. It's not the highest source. We get too caught up in it, but criminals use that because the mind in our reality can't comprehend certain things unless we're shown it, unless we decode it. So, yeah, I've worked out a lot of stuff on this one. So Harry Truman, let me show you a few things first, and then you're going to see all the maps, which after that, you're going to make sense. Of course. And if you look at the wars that have been going up, where are the wars recent times? Middle East, the highest point. Before it was like Vietnam, and then it was Cuba. But ever since 9/11, which again, set up by us, 9/11, what number do you call when you in an emergency? 911. 33 were left everywhere, clues. It was obvious thing. Again, it caused a disruption at the bottom of the earth. These people ain't got a clue what's going on. In Afghanistan, a guy that I know that went out there and served, he said that we were in these little villages showing images of the twin towers. They never heard of it. Never, I didn't even know where they are. They never had the technology, but there was crime up there. So problem, reaction, solution gave us. The storyline was for the evil deep state players that just bought into it. We're benefiting. We're getting heroin. We're getting the drug trade. While Central Intelligence, CIA, Harry Truman, is monitoring all the criminal stuff. But beyond that, we're going up the layers. And whilst we're going up, so World War II, which was the Nazis, Germany, England, we were also going down. America then set up in Greenland. So Greenland, they had a base. They were there for about 3 years during the war, and they was doing loads of different testing. After the war, where did they go next? Antarctica. Admiral Byrd. We've seen all that for people who looked at the flat earth. We were told there was more land across the thing from middle America. And we've never heard about anything since. And the Antarctic Treaty was all signed into place. This is a big one that I'm coming on. The Antarctic Treaty, 1959. There's about 56 countries on there now. Why is there so many countries? We say it's an ice wall around the outside, only from our current perspective. That ice is melted now. There's land underneath for all these countries. And then if you look at America, we'll come on to it. Harry Truman first.
The Freemasons, a topic that triggers a lot of truthers. Many people get wound up and they say they're Zionists, they're Jesuits, they're evil. If we go back and see what all this war starts from, the Constitution, George Washington. On his statue, it says Freemason and First President. If we then look at Benjamin Franklin, Freemason. And then if we come forward, you'll see that many key presidents for this war are Freemasons. Theodore Roosevelt. Frank Roosevelt, during the World War, Freemason, started in 1933. The next president, Harry Truman, Freemason.
As a past Grand Master of the great state of Missouri, I'm very much interested in the Masonic Service Association. In the last war, we had 49 Grand Lodges trying to do the work of one. In unity is strength. This time, when our boys come marching home victorious, none will look askance and say, where was Freemasonry in this hour of need? Approximately 10% of the boys in the service are Freemasons. Another 15% are close kin of Freemasons. Through the association, Freemasonry is meeting the challenge of their great need. At this very moment, in foxholes and on shipboard, beneath the sea and in the air, countless hands are being clasped in fraternal recognition as brothers find one another in the darkness as well as in the daylight. And countless fathers, bravely wishing Godspeed to their departing sons, are saying, boy, when your hour of darkness and loneliness comes, find a Freemason and tell him you're the son of a Freemason and you'll find a friend.
Who set up the NSA? Harry Truman. Who set up the CIA? Harry Truman. Harry Truman has played a massive role in all of this, and we are effectively in the Truman Show now because we've contained every part of humanity within this realm to clear out evil. CIA was an amazing organization to infiltrate foreign affairs, and their counterintelligence worked out who all the evil people are.
They could not and would not stop short of total world domination. Kennan's message caused a sensation in Washington. President Harry Truman, his cabinet and military leaders all read the telegram. Truman was already concerned with Soviet expansionism and inclined to agree with Kennan's assessment. Western way of life was to survive, the Soviets would have to be contained. The United States, the president knew, was the only country in the world strong enough to stand up to Russia. But in order to do this, they would need to know how strong the Soviets were and to be able to predict their next move. In 1945, with the war over, President Harry Truman had disbanded the United States Foreign Intelligence Service, the Office of Strategic Services, or OSS. Now, in the face of this new threat, Truman resurrected the idea of a civilian intelligence gathering agency. On July 25, 1947, he signed the National Security Act, creating the Central Intelligence Agency.
So Freemasons is going to be the very last part of a lot of this, because there's been good people that are fighting in the shadows. We say it's an informational war. They say it's a silent war. They've been fighting in the shadows. For as long as I know, they've been the most evil people, the Freemasons. But as we again look from a pyramid perspective first, so right at the very top, when they were created, the flat land, FBI, CIA, NSA, all created with good intentions, right? At the pyramid, then people see it all. They're going to climb up, and they want to climb up to the top, get into those positions. That happens every creation. So when you view your life now, look from the top and look down. And what I said then on that video, and we got to step up. We have to step up. We got to step up the one level, up the pyramid again. So even our words, it says it in plain sight. View it like that. Game of chess now. I know reason why the knights and stuff and all these jump. The clever chess players are looking down on levels. It's a lot easier to look down. They got to come up here. They got to go hit. It's easier. Everything you do it from the highest perspective first, then come down to the ground. The ground is only in 3 dimensions because that's when you started, on the ground, in the soil. Before that, start in the Son of God. They're allegories, people. And what you'll start seeing is everything has a mirror. So Harry Truman, so again, your point now is to stay in that heart space. So it's not an argument. So if you share any videos now on the Freemasons, just know that evil, angry, brainwashed, indoctrinated attachment will come your way, especially because we're at the end of this war. Your job's not to fight. Your job's not to having debates, but you can ask questions. So the question to block all of this, people, and all you need to do, what about Harry Truman? Don't let them go on to any other topic. Don't they say Zionists and all? Stop them and just say, no, let's go back to Harry Truman. This is the same war, isn't it? Let's go back to the Constitution, George Washington. And the first thing that they will say, oh, this has been infiltrated. They mostly got set up with good intent. Life's been infiltrated. That's what this is. It's infiltration from within. Every part of creation is like that. You can't argue when you go back to Truman, and also when you start seeing the things like the Truman Show and stuff as well. So I'm going to play. Let me just try to work out, because some of it was mentioned then. So he set up the CIA, Central Intelligence. If you see what that was about, it's amazing. He set up the NSA. NSA is the thing that gives us access now to scan the whole internet. NATO was set up by Harry Truman. NATO, again, we're told NATO's so bad, they're stealing all money. Again, a story, the creation part to it as well. However, what NATO did allow us to do, so you tell the criminals, we're going to milk money off of the military here. We're going to get America to defend us, and we're not going to pay for it. At that moment in time, that's the truth, and they think they're getting away with it. What does it do, though? It gives America straight, easy access to all their countries to set up base with a long intention in mind. 9/11 gave the evil people the idea that they've knocked it down and give them excuse to go into the Middle East with ISIS already set up from above, from the Saudis, funded all the way down to Obama. But we'd have been watching every move the whole way. Obama would have given the orders to the military to bomb, which none of that made sense anyway. Then they go ahead with the bombs, but those bombs didn't happen. We saw it on the news, fake news. We control the news. Then you look at the articles and type in bomb, any country, Afghanistan bomb, Iran bomb, Syria bomb. Even then add another word, suicide attack, Afghanistan, suicide attack, Libya. They all have got 33 in it. Every single article, you'll find loads of 33. It's us leaving clues. But for the evil people, they think they're in control. They don't know the full truth. They just know the truth that they can see from a limited perspective. But they get the rewards from that limited perspective with money, with new partnerships, with people dying. Again, problem, reaction, solution. It gave us the opportunity to go up into these countries. Why do you think we were there for 20 years? Oh, it's a wasted war. No, it's not. We're cleaning out evil at every level of the land. We've got a reason to do it now. Even higher that, you got Ukraine. Military all involvement. You had the Afghanistan withdrawal, but Trump was setting up in Afghanistan with all the military there. All the 80 billion equipment that Biden had left. The story is Biden left it. That's a story. That's the movie. But the truth is we can put all military activity there now. So I'm going to go even one higher. All the countries that moan about why are they still spraying the skies? Why are they still spraying the skies? There's places like Scotland that all they have is had sprayed skies. You maybe get 1 month a year where you see a tiny bit of blue. Why? Because you mostly can see what's above you. In the other countries, you see red skies. Arizona, the sunset was closest to the sky. All of this is like it's all being planned on another level that you can't even comprehend. So let me go through a bit more. That's how we move. We've scanned the whole. They took down the mob with Ronald Reagan of that. So next one. Oh yeah. So I won't go the whole video because it's 13 minutes. But he did the Majestic 12, which was alien sighting. But if you hold back, so Antarctica, 1945, never went after that, we were told. But 1945, the technology we had back then to do them was a magic. Look at what we got now. 1945, that was when the Antarctic Treaty was made, but the research was still going ahead. No one's really been allowed to go there. We've always been told from the Flat Earth community, oh, the Zionists, they're stopping us going military on the outside. That don't make sense. We're stopping people going so that evil people can't get their hands on God's creation. 45 years, though, think at how many levels it's gone down. And there's now 56 countries. Before there was like 7 countries. So more and more land they're finding. That's to you, that's to you, that's to you. And now I've realized, how have they stopped the other countries from finding this stuff? And then I thought about, where have we had some stories like Russia, where you had the nuclear bomb. Harry Truman actually sent the Hiroshima nuclear bomb. That was Harry Truman. Then Japan surrendered. But that land now is so contaminated that no one would dare go there. Yet that's most of the entrance point to the next part. Right. Late, but glad I'm here. Thank you, God Messenger. Amazing. Glad to be here. Glad to have you here. So this is a big one. So this is, again, you'll see all the different dimensions the way we're looking at now. We're stretching everything. US military control the oceans. It used to be the UK. But when the UK realised, well, there's so much more land here, we'd do it all. And that was mostly, oceans was the way that you controlled all that time, because you could always stretch out further. When they realised there was nowhere else to go, Captain Cook told that he continued to go around, never found an entrance into the ice wall. They realised that's all there was, until they started discovering that there was more land, and that is when they had to have distractions, World War. So whilst we're going up cleaning out these other places, they've been going down too, but evil's so far away. On the map, the flat Earth, when it's a flat map, the planes just look like it goes at the right, it just flies next door, but it has to go down or up. Hence why all planes fly at about 33,000 feet. So you just land, you would never know. You go around the... So again, it's all been designed. So this is why it's important. So while it comes to Israel at the moment, Q said it will end in Israel, or Israel for a reason. I feel that the World War II was a distraction. The storyline was to really persecute Jews. There was only 1% of Jews living in Germany, supposedly at that time, 500,000. And we were told that 2 million Jews were killed and 6 million. The numbers had always been changed. Then you couldn't say that it was all bullshit because you'd get killed in Europe as well. I think that all that's been done on purpose. The Jews were persecuted.
was, let's create this story, this narrative. Oh, I think my microphone's gone a bit.
There you go. We create this story narrative.
Reason for the rest of the world that don't know about what's going on. I've got to lose it
now. There you go. They don't know about the world that's going on. And we're only told from our narrative. So you say Jews were persecuted. And then the idea, get right to the top. We're at the very bottom. We've surrounded Antarctica. We're in Greenland. We've got a big land mass in America. We've got our allies then in Europe. Now we're going to go the way up. Remember, evil is going to get to wherever they can do. And God's will is powerful. So the collective, the eye in the sky, is the collective consciousness. That's the thing that needed to shift. You remove evil, more love comes in. So the psyop is almost to be, everything has to be a lie first. Everything. That's the easiest way to bring everyone round together, because the story and the information is the same. We just have to change our perspective. So when Israel, people said, oh, Israel's a new state and they shouldn't have been given it and they've been taking all the land. Again, what we're being shown now, who did control the narrative, or what we've been led to believe. All the liars, all the deceivers, all the gatekeepers from the real truth. And if that's God's closest point, they would have been the chosen people and that would have been the chosen land. These people's role is to destroy God in every way possible. As we've got more technology, we can catch crime a lot easier. So the other ways they have to do it now is destroy the very source. So Israel was created, and I'll play this next. And this is where Harry Truman comes back in. Can you explain why they spray in the skies, please? In a minute, I don't think you've watched from the start partly. It's because the worlds are above us. Because in the certain places, they don't spray the skies. It's amazing. But if they didn't, people would see what the truth is about this four-dimensional shape that we live in. It's layers, it's staircases, it's the spiral. So it makes sense in a minute. I'll show you. We just wouldn't know. It's not been shown to us because they're secrets. Harry Truman's had a big part of that. So next one. This was big. So the reason why I come on to Harry Truman was because I'm a big follower of this war. And I'm connecting more and more dots all the time. And I'm really interested in the history. Everything dates back to Harry Truman, where you can start seeing how things started being set up. So Israel, a big talking point was Israel's new, like they shouldn't have given that land in the first place. And I had a conversation the other day of like, would you think it's wrong that they just went in and just plopped themselves there and stuff as well? And so that's been sitting with me for a little while. However, I know that Harry Truman, when they first set up Israel, Harry Truman, 11 minutes later as president, so all this same time, recognized Israel as the Jewish state, 11 minutes after. So look, let me just get it up for you, just so you see here. So US President Harry Truman was the first world leader to officially recognize Israel as a legitimate Jewish state on May the 14th, 1948. They just set up the CIA. They just set up the NSA all the same time. So this war, so I've always known that Israel, regardless if people say they're bad, they're wrong, well, Harry Truman's recognized them as the Jewish state 11 minutes, by the way, after it was created. Look, only 11 minutes after its creation, he's got something to do with all of this. So Israel, and also with Donald Trump continuing this war, has also been a supporter of Israel. So I'm like, right, regardless of what anyone tells me about all these Zionists and all these different stories, I know at the very core that I'm supporting Israel. And you'll see what I'm going to mean by that even more so by today. I don't know anything about what's going on. I don't care about it. Like, I do all care. But whatever you're telling me, I don't care for that. Because you won't look at Harry Truman. Same thing. It's exactly the same thing. All comes to the same war. Harry Truman was the Freemason at that period. He was a commander-in-chief, and you're going to see some of the other things that took place with the topics that we're going on to today. So let me come back. We'll just see
Civil War. So whilst World War of the whole land, loads of like
That's in green.
we show the Freemason the greatest honor that had ever come to me, brother Harry Truman.
So remember when I said at the start of this, Hollywood is actually Holywood. It's a revolving Bible. It's a revolving showing the truth for the whole world now. So the Bible, the story of Christ, was still written in English. It was converted all the way down. So think about these spirals. So all this different land. So let me try to, in my head, imagine how it spiraled down and how it was found. Israel, Egypt, and then you had like Syria and stuff as well. Then we have different parts of Africa at the top. Then it goes touching like the Mediterranean. Then we've got like Turkey and comes down then into Greece. Then it goes into Italy, which was Rome, and then it goes into Europe, and it's going down like that. And they're big. I got a kind of a drawing on it. So imagine when it gets down to the Brits, long time ago, and for years that they were just the explorers, and they went all around and they found all different land, and then they started finding things like in the Galapagos, and then they found this big stretch of land in Australia. So I even from my perspective, when the Noah's Ark and stuff, right at the top, when it was right at the top, and then there was this flood. Can you imagine the story like that? And then all of a sudden, you've got God's kingdom of his people, and some of these islands around it, which were further away, was just full with all these big animals. Those animals, whales, lions, elephants, all these different things, mostly they're the gatekeepers for us to stop other people coming in. And they get to that land like, no, we're not going there. No, what is that? And that's where you see cavemen and stuff as well. They must be in a world of love now. With our understanding, love is universal. You're seeing all these animals around the world, all connecting with other animals and connecting with humans, because we're coming from that love space. We're coming with now the awareness, the knowledge, and now the experience, and knowing that you can replicate that across any model because it's God's creation. So again, the world's changing in that sense. So I like thinking like that. But imagine having the knowledge. You've gone all the way down. Like, you've obviously traveled up. You learn about Christ. You learn a lot about the Buddha. You learn about Taoism. You learn about Hare Krishna and Hinduism. You learn about them all there, and you're coming down. So at the end, you've just got truth from all these different things. You learn how the body works. You learn that this is how you work with plants. You learn how to navigate and go through the jungle, go through the desert. You learn about how animals are telling us, watch the dolphins, watch the seals, watch the penguins. Like, that's all the research. So the science, Freemason is science. Trust the science. G on that compass now makes sense. They used to draw the maps with compass. It's the way that they could explain it all. So they had the knowledge. So I feel that the people that wrote the Bible in English are the good people. And then they wrote so much with all this wisdom, and they just given it, right, that's the truth. At the same time, you then had the messengers that went as quick as they could around the world. And it was mostly venture up to Central America. Let's get Christ there. Let's get Christ here. Let's get Christ. And that was mostly the plan. People caught wind of it and thought, shit, what they do? We have to go and we have to pretend we're them. We have to go intercept it. We have to build our own church here. Again, imagine on generations. So it's been twisted, but they don't know the full truth. They've been given this Bible. They have to read it first. They have to make sense of it. They have to see how it's reacting to other people. We're going to change that. We've got to take that bit out. That's over thousands of years. So the truth was getting out there. They were just doing all they could to silence it. So I feel like as we've evolved, we've then started using creation. How evil can we get? Create the environments of a story and let all the creepy, weird people that just do anything to sell their soul get involved with it. And then you work your way down. So I feel a lot of these characters and stuff have been created by us. Let me just see what else was on that video. Oh, yeah, this bit. And again, use it all. Think there's more land below the earth, which will make more sense when I can show you some maps. So they're going that way. So there's going to be more land. We now have to lie about our maps. That was in the 1600s when they started changing the maps. So even at that time, they mostly realized, God, the people at the top don't even know we're in 4D. They still think it's flat. They think they can fall over the edge. They're scared about leaving their territory. There was a film called The Village. That just shows you they didn't know on the outside. They then even made up scary characters to stop them leaving, stop them venturing out. I've got even a clip on that shows you on. This is brilliant the way it all connects up. Go watch the Truman Show, God Messenger. All the clues are in that. Jim Carrey, all of his films, all of them. Bruce Almighty. Go and look at that. Go and watch Evan Almighty. Have a guess who produced that one? Tom Hanks. That's where Morgan Freeman's God in both of them. Go and look at Pet Detective. He points out pedos back in the day. That's Kelly Winkleman or whatever. He's pointing them out. Like they've always been doing. They're all actors. So within their role, they are acting in real life as their character, how it's perceived. They're agents. They're God's messengers. They're the Freemasons. Free man, and then Freemasons, Freemasons, God's children. That's free them all. You do that through love. So pay attention to the little envelope, but just watch this bit. Again, symbology, Christ. Jesus Christ is the word and the character and the name in the name of God and the word of God that is met with so much anger. So many triggers all the time when they argue about Jesus Christ and you are a sinner and constantly. And I know it's the people that have taken that on that hate God and that's being passed down. Unfortunately, churches have corrupted all of us. We just believed it. We follow the messenger. Just like in the truth movement, we follow the messenger. We don't take things into our own experience. We look outside and think, oh, that sounds nice. That looks nice. That makes sense. Yeah, if we just realize everything's being shown to us, it's just images within. So this is from the Truman Show. We are in a Truman Show. We're being contained. They stopped us from going down. They changed the narrative, the story, and then they found out ways of how we can get evil clearing all the way up. So we clear the route. I'm going to show you how it matches up with the different systems of the body too. So like all the things that he's done, military, president. And I love like little comments like that. Someone's been listening to Charlie Free. No, I stopped listening to him at Sound of Freedom. I stopped connecting with all those people. Sound of Freedom. This is all from my meditations. This is from my research. And if you comments like that, you haven't watched my stuff. Like this always kind of unfolded as I go along. But I'll stand on Harry Truman. I'll go to the truth. I won't hide. I won't get angry. I won't be calling people some very rude words. I won't, because I have nothing to hide. I am a children of the light. I am doing God's work. I am enjoying sharing my truth because it's my feelings, but I'm connecting with other people along the way. So you can make comments like that. I'd say go and look at my work and come back. Like the thing is, I learned from a lot of these people on the way, but now I'm looking down at the pyramid because they're hiding something. They're being deceitful in a way, deceptive in a way, because they're not speaking the whole truth. So they can't come up to this level. They can speak it, but they can't back it up. They can't back it up anymore. And that's where we're at. And they try to get you to go back down and react to it. And you get people that will say comments like that as well. I just finished watching Netflix 8-episode series called The Fall of the House of Usher. That series has so many truth. Once you awake, you see it. Amazing. Thank you. All of these shows as well, people. Remember, this is just ways of getting it out. And I realized a film, you've only got an audience attention for about 2.5 hours. If it's a good film. Over a series, you've got them. Like the series 24. It's going to come and play. You got them for 24 hours. And then you're going to do a season 2 and a season 3. That's how they capture the audience. So they're planting seeds for us every time. If you listen to the names, if you look out for the signs. And then like you said, Denise, thank you for sharing everything. Now I watch stuff and I'm like, oh my God, it's telling us. It's telling us all the time. And it gives you ideas of who we are, what we're capable of, the soul journey, the soul purpose, the free will aspect, the curiosity, the evil, the truth, the darkness. Like all of it's being shown to us. Again, take what works for you at this time. Take what resonates with you. It's there. It's coming to your life now. regardless if you call it movie, you call it sports, you call it work, you call it is coming to your life. You then take the meaning or remember it. That's the key bit. It might not make sense at the moment, but it feels all right. It didn't cause me any concern, didn't cause me any stress or tightness. It'll come back to me. Spirals, everything's energy. So watch this. They tell us in movies, with the wars, the setups, his rank, how he regarded himself, was always a master of masons. So the importance of that as well. So to move forward, we have to be exposed to all the stuff that we would call darkness. A lot of us are good, godly people, that some of these things that take place have never been a thought for us before. Some of these things that was taking place used to happen around us and we didn't even know, because you wasn't aware of it. You just didn't assume that people could do that. So we are now in a contained system called the Truman Show. It's like that movie. And I've just shown this clip. This is right at the end of the movie, but that is quite a symbolic scene. He's doing the cross, like Jesus, and he's just about to exit. He's crossing over. So this is going to come and tie in with some of the suggestions of the story that we've been told. God's plan is still ever present now. God's plan is unveiling itself for God to know thyself at this moment. So we say God always knows. He does, but he doesn't remember. Just like we as souls don't remember and we're remembering now. He only remembers when the experience comes that, and then the next way. And you're going to start seeing, this makes it more exciting. Because when I'm present in my meditations, there's certain things that come up and it's like, you can see I'm in the flow, because I say the same stuff all the time. I know it's the truth. The things are just connecting now, and this has just got me. I sit and ponder half the time. I sit in a coffee shop and I'm just staring out the window or write little notes in my book. And I realized the 3D experience, once you start going at a higher rate, your focus is be healthy, choose the environment that you like, have an experience, have connection. And I just know that we're all in a war at this time. So it's okay to not be doing anything, not be chasing, because you are doing everything. You're doing so much more. Again, I call it preparation for the new world. All of us are English speaking right now anyway. That puts you in such a key position. Not only are you English speaking, you've stepped out most of the time from a matrix that you're now looking back in. You're observing. You're not as consumed in it. We're getting our toes a bit wet in it and a bit caught, but we're observing. What else are we doing? We're reflecting. We're learning about our journey. And sometimes how did I make that mistake? How have I done? But you're not there now. You're here. And I keep thinking about the rest of the world. We say, when the norm is going to wake up. It's not the normies people. It's the countries above us. It's all the people that have been limited in terms of their viewpoint, in terms of their story, in terms of people just coming out of nowhere. There's different levels to it. We all have a big purpose. Plus, if 1945 and the agreement for the treaty was 1959, imagine how much land there is now, all just fresh. And when people have been taken out, and they say that Tupac's in Cuba. No, they're just in the New World. They're helping build that at the moment, set that up. And I realized things like NASA, and we feel like they're taking our money. When we all assets seize, we just take it back off them again. And we start working under. They're going underground the airports, and they got all the underground tunnels. And there's one for you. The dumbs. No, you're dumb for believing in that stupid story. The adrenochrome, that stupid story. That's been pushed by the gatekeepers. It's been Tom Hanks is a pedo. Oprah's a pedo. When you zoom out, you're going to go, how have you come up with that? It's a dumb idea, but we've all bought into it. Why? Because you create a duality so much. And also the people that didn't decide, we're in 4D. We're viewing all this in 4D. Some of us from the heart space, some of us in fear. But we can see that there's a fake world going on. We can see that there's liars. We can see that there's a dark versus light. But there's some people that still chose to be in a 3D. So the mind is the only thing that the good guys are in control of everything. They're going to go on the journey. They're going to hit the scare event. They're going to get their own soul slapped. Don't worry about them. So I've seen a few comments come up. Harry, we talk about duality, good versus evil. Do we need evil to keep good accountable? It seems we have always fought evil. How long will evil always gone? Again, great question, Paul. But bring it before evil. Take it to ego. Ego and God. Edging God out and God. Under ego, you need the elements where you play. That's your ego. You need to put on your characters. You need to put on protection. You need to put on an act. The opposite of God is an act. And if you wear the right mask as an act, or you get the choice, or what character am I playing? And then you shine, act shone. So ego, you could call evil. You could, like for me, I'd say go to the duality of ego. Talk about the bit where it's more of a protective state, like a mum and dad, where you got your wits about someone, or you're not, and then you say, oh, wait, that's ego. That's not your loving truth. That's your standing on your truth with love. But then you got ego where you're completely unconscious and you go red mist, you go violent, you go hate, you go angry. That's not even close to the truth. So the duality will still always be there. That's the universal law. It's just how we label it. Like heaven, what's the opposite? They painted a picture for us with fiery gates and all these images of the devil and the horn. All they did was flip the word around, lived. It's the devil. Live, flipped, is evil. Love, as a noise, love is evil. Think mirror. And then people take their own stories. So again, if we're the storytellers, we need to think, what is the most evil of evil possible? Burn in hell and damnation, and you're a sinner. And you tell evil people, look, we're going to tell them this. We're going to paint this message, because we know God always wins. But we need to draw more people in. We need to get more. Again, it's a duality in that sense. So I always say you don't, and Paul, that's a great question, because that highlights we still think in level of duality ourselves. Well, if it's not one, it's the other. You're missing one component. So go on the pyramid. If it's not your body, it's your mind. There's one higher, the truth. In this moment in time, which is the mind in the middle, you're now making a choice. At this moment in time, it seems like a bad decision. That seems like a horrible decision. That seems like a stupid decision. Why would you tell them that 666 is evil and let them all run around with it? Because in God's time, when people are waking up to the truth, they can see those guys have got 666 all the time. Those guys are running around with the rainbow flag with all different color hair and all sorts of dodgy clothes, shouting about we love abortions, kill baby. You can see them clearly. Let's stick a dude in a wig, stick him in a swimming pool, give him some budgie smugglers and let him win gold and piss off. Great. But you still get some crazy fools that go along with that. You clear them up. You can either help them because you can just see they're brainwashed, or you know that they're evil. Only evil would go there. There's a choice aspect where you know something's not right here. Choice is the mind. So all I encourage, Paul, is just go one higher. There's always a duality. Find the third option. It's the same when we're asleep and awake. If you're not sleeping, you're awake. But we're awake for about 16 hours a day, asleep for about 8 hours, some less. But if you add a third bit, meditation, which is the soul, then you can be in flow for 8 hours a day. You don't even need 8 hours. You just go flow just with your soul because there's no time. Your mind then, when you're awakened state, you've got less things to decide now because a lot of it's been done in your meditation. And then when you're in your body, you're sleeping, you're resting. Infiltrators try to get between you and God, Christ consciousness. Yeah, exactly. So it starts with the story of Jesus, but look how we've all advanced. And now there's all the spiritual teachers in the mainstream. The people talk to you about Palladians and the Galactic Federation, and there's planet Nibiru and Zabiru, and they're all over there somewhere, and you might not be able to find it. Or when you have a spiritual awakening, that's when people, it's like you have to wait for it. When Christ comes down to save you, only Jesus can save us. Save us from what? If you know the sun comes down every day, and this is the question I always ask, when Jesus comes down to save you, what happens? Is it a human? They say no. What is it? It's light. What happens if you just look out for the light now? No, that's not him. Again, stories. We just bought into it. That's what I mean. All these stories are just being passed on through generations. Our stories now. My story. The story. So, and if you connect with high story, the most high, it's you and the Father. So let me go into the next one, because I've been talking quite a bit on there. Dreams are another story. I've been having wild dreams. I don't dream much. Change your last few words. I don't dream much. If you want your dreams, say I dream. They're getting more and more visible each time. I'm remembering more and more. I'm even writing them down now. I have my book next to me now. I have it open, and something pops up. I write it down. My dream last night was I was in my house and I'd set my house on fire, one of my old houses, with all my old school books and stuff. And then I regretted it. And I tried to run back in. It's like, no, because that was my past memory. And all it was saying is, stay here, enjoy the human experience, make the most of it. Your past is your past. Keep it. Hold on to what you got. That's what I took from it. So I encourage people. And the thing is, someone also wrote this, and this is a big teaching for all of us. You said, how do we know? How do you know? How do you see us getting out this matrix? It's that question, Law. How do you see us getting out the matrix? Now, straight away. Stop watching crap. Stop listening to fear. Start taking things within. How does this make sense for me? If I don't know the answer to something, and I keep asking the same question all the time, like as an example in the truth movement, is Nasara Jasara coming? What about the med beds? If they're in control, why are they spraying the sky? Same questions all the time. Why did he release the vaccine? Go and get your answer. Stop asking the same question and repeat. Most people ask a question because all they want to do is contribute to the conversation and feel like they've been heard, and also show that they're not crazy because they know their stuff too. It's recognition. So when do you see us stepping out the matrix is the wrong question. We can get out the matrix as soon as you go into meditation, and then watch it. Watch the matrix, protect your energy. Do the things that you want to do right now, even if you feel a bit limited because of the outside world, but you can accept. We're watching a war. You can see it's getting closer and closer. We can see that the world's now coming together from war. We're seeing the narrative, the story is taking us to where it's always going to take us. Trump steps in and saves the day. There's going to be a point where people are going to have to let go of everything they know about Trump and everything they know about these people, and they're going to go, oh, and then you trust in yourself. So the matrix people is your mind. When you step out your mind and step up from your mind and look down, that's it. And it's our words, it's our limitation, and it's the confidence. People, the reason why we struggle is the big voices in this movement are the ones that write things off or don't show anything or get aggressive. And because they know what they're on about, we don't want to say anything. Or if we do share something and then people ridicule her. So again, Harry Truman, just ask that question. So let me come off of this one. Let me go through some of the stuff. So I was looking at, these are how my mind works now. And now you're starting to see, watch how things look like blimmin' jigsaw puzzles as well. Like this whole map, we'd say this is all wrong. But look at it from a perspective. Let me quit from that. So from a highest perspective, and like I said, there's points in the world. Imagine they were little dots first and they're spirals. So all I look at is the color of the land. And that Hawaii mountain, which was meant to be the highest, 33,000 foot from ocean floor to top, I was at the very top of that. And then they say it's higher than Mount Everest. And again, how does that make sense? It can't make sense. Am I at the same height then? Because people die at going up that Mount Everest. It's freezing cold. Like, whereas I was, it was amazing. It's magical. So we can't be on the same level. So that was one. But watch this, knowing that it keeps going down. So when we had the mud floods, and they've been hiding buildings, they bet no, it's just the buildings have been revealing themselves as they go down. Underground tunnels is mostly because there is loads of underground stuff there too. So look, I started Israel, and there's a drop down, it seems, to Egypt. So the eye of Horus, it's all obvious. The eye in the sky then comes down into the mind, the eye of Horus. So I feel that the top two are those two. So then you go around and it kind of spirals like this. And you've got to try and imagine there's about 3 tiers in Africa here, and you can see it points down. However, we got to look at it like this. See the green in the middle? That's the lowest point. That lowest point is Angola, and Angola then naturally went to Brazil. So it's a spiral like this going down. So imagine top of the pyramid, you're looking right down on it. Down, 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 and it's going to spiral around. I kind of did it something like this. I don't have the editors and I don't have the drawing, but this is all coming from me this week. But watch this, people. So then they put the colors on. Look at the flags and the colors. The bottom of the world seems to be, and I said Russia's so big. Like, how's that not the biggest country? And we look at the maps, and we're told, oh, that's a lie about Africa. It's a much bigger than that. But look at the countries. So you start from Israel. A lot of them have got all the moons. It's like the moon follows the sun. So that most probably is the second level. Look, Egypt, Algeria, Cameroon. Then it comes round and there's a wheel. In Afghanistan, they got wheels, and then Mexico's got like a circle on it. There's an eagle. And then you go round. So look, this still didn't make sense looking at it all like this. So the North Pole, we're told, is Iceland. But if you go right at the very bottom, that's the North Pole at the bottom. Turn it upside down. Go at the bottom. The recent land was Greenland that was in the World War. And beyond, after the World War, was Antarctica. So that ice would have been 1945. That's not there now. I'm going to show you how Australia has got a lot more land. And I'm going to show you how this all matches with a treaty. But watch this. I flipped it. So starting from this little point in Israel, which is about here. So I've got the Saudi flags. It's about there. So look, spirals. Doosh. Doosh. Look at the colors of the flag. Look at the shapes of the flags. I think they're connecting the dots for us with the flags. And then I thought, look at the colors of the flags. And you've got to go beyond countries, because that was the thing I couldn't get my head around, because America is America. But look, they planned it all. America was the gateway for the rest of the world, I feel. So that's why America is going to be big and better than it's ever been before, because look how he's managed to select it. So you've got America here. Canada is going to be below America. But look, below Canada is Alaska. So he's managed to get to Alaska. You've got Hawaii over here somewhere as well, which is America. And the last two states that were found, I'm going to ask a question to you all. How many states are in America? And I realized that this has been set up too deliberately. So the last two states were Alaska and Hawaii. So as the ocean's gone wide, remember this is going wider all the time, but it's also going down. So the bottom lands here. So look at the conflicts. Look at the countries. Look, Australia, Canada, America, Great Britain, a tiny little island here. So Great Kingdom, I reckon that was the lowest point for a long time. Then you got this stretch of water, obviously, circle, circle, circle. And now we've then found like all these other lands, but they were there anyway, just higher up. Peru, where you climb up the Incas and go to, I forgot that. Yeah, it'll come back to me anyway. But on Easter Island, which is like the middle of nowhere, you had these massive statues. Massive. No one would have known they're there because you had no reason to go there before. It just kept going for days. So can you see? So watch this, how it gets even more crazy. Got to think deeper, deeper, deeper. At the moment, we're only viewing Greenland, the top of Alaska, and that as snow, because that's all we're shown. Iceland, in Russia, you've got places in like Siberia and stuff that are so cold, the Russian winters and stuff. It goes even further down, and I know that a lot of the land has been stopped from us getting to, and there'll be higher places too, higher elevation points where it will be hot, like we saw in the other ones, because in North Korea is a country you couldn't go to. El Salvador is one of the most evil countries, but I reckon there was a viewpoint there. You got Snowball, you got Japan, you got all these different points where I'm believing that there's lower land. So, Machu Picchu, thank you. So watch this. This is where it gets even more exciting. So, I should reword. How do we help protect our kids and grandkids that when they aren't aware, or are we supposed... So, again, Laurie, thank you for the questions. These are great. So mums and dads out here, look how limited our thinking is. We need them to look at the truth, but they're not paying attention to it. The truth is life itself. So how do we get our kids to be awake? Give them experiences and test their senses. Get them in those moments where you see they're in joy, when you can see that they love what they're doing, you can see the passion about it, you can see the thought and the time. Notice that. Make them aware of the gift that they got. Encourage things that they like doing. Also educate them. That doesn't have to be your life and your identity now. Go and explore and make sure you do things you love. That's the truth. And then this is just a tiny bit of information. Like I said, this whole thing's a distraction. So all I encourage is passion. Passion is from the heart. All I'd encourage then is to expand their thinking. And the best way to do that, people, is asking questions. As king, asking. We're gatekeepers for our children. We're gatekeepers and farmers for the land. We're soon going to be gardeners, farmers, gatekeepers, shepherds. For the animals, because we won't be killing them. We've got the technology to do replicators. Even that, killing animals now. Again, all these things are changing for me. You can argue with the idea of killing them. And back in the day, that's all they knew. They had to survive, but animals now do the same. But now we have the whole playing field. Now we have the technology. Now we have quantum. We have technology that's going to be able to make the same molecular structure look the same visually, but it won't be meat. We won't be killing them. If you want to kill people, there'll be a metaverse for you. So when Paul said about evil, it's the same thing. Like, you're looking at me now, but you're looking at a hologram, really, some flashing lights. You're not really looking at me. So what's the difference between you going into a metaverse and shooting humans, animals? If you want that, because it's a human experience, you can go into it if you want. By the time you're in that love space, you won't want to. And I think the only times that you'll learn the truth through movies. They take us on the roller coaster of emotions. You feel it. You let yourself go into them because you know you're learning, you're educating, you're taking meaning and understanding from it. Again, we can choose and change the whole dynamic of it. So yes, teach them and evolve them. Exactly. But enjoy it. So remember, we're all souls. So you can now look at, and I watch people all the time. I'm watching animals all the time. I'm looking at how things are made up and created like this. I could now learn from a kid by asking them just a few questions and just watch what comes out of their mouth. Just watch the spark, or watch the disconnect, watch the boredom, watch the excitement. I can learn from it. That's your experience about everything. The only thing that stops us is the label. I'm mum, that's my kid. Can you see, people? So you can enhance it all. Learn, be present in the moment. When you walk down the stairs with your mind. What's my feet doing in this moment? How's my shoulders feel? How's my landing position? What noise do I make? Again, that's quite a lot to take in one go. So it's one task at a time. When you're driving, most of the time you're unconscious. Your mind's elsewhere. Try doing a drive-in, next 10 minutes, just focus on your breath. See how many times you can go up and down and see what the length of the breath is. Do that. Watch how calmer you are. Watch how much clearer you are. So I trust animals more than humans. And why is that, God's messenger? Love. Love cannot be refuted. Love, you know it. You don't even need words for love. That's why the soul comes before the mind. Mind has to go in a thought process first, and then it's got to go through the body to speak. Same process, thought process through the body to write. So if you believe in the Bible as the truth, and you're holding on to that with anger, but you're eating animals, before that, the animals you can trust more. It's God's creation. Like, it's things like that. So that's what I mean. Any arguments, you're arguing from a place of not knowing, or you're arguing from a place of limitations. It's a knowing. Yeah, it's a no. They know, and you know. And you can tell that because you could put the most vicious animal with a kid in a loving environment where they both feel safe and watch them. It's amazing. And again, we didn't have that before. It was more survival, but now we know because we got the whole playing field. So let me show you a few more then. So that was on here. But look, I was searching flat earth map and look at this picture. I'm like, oh, so why are they spraying the skies? Again, that's just a picture. You could go and look at that. But I'm telling you, the oceans, watch the water, sea level, eye level, horizon. As the water goes down, our horizon's still the same. Our perspective can change, though, if you know that you're from the bottom going up and from the top coming down. So from the military perspective, they've got the bottom. They control the narrative. They change the language. For a criminal that's always operating in the mind, to learn something anyway, you have to go into that God space. So they're stuck in their container. They got nowhere else to go. So the truth always wins. And by the time it get to 2036, they say the heart's opening up, or we're all ascending. Ascending is purely because we've now learnt the human experience. And this is not about the human experience, it's about the soul experience and what our eyes are truly capable of. You need new technology now to show you and give you the reminders of what you can do. And we think the technology is so advanced. No, it's reflecting on what we can do and make us realize, oh, that's how you do it. So every bit of energy, every memory that you've ever had is out there, and they've managed to find ways now that they can catch. That's why the truth always wins. The truth can only come from the individual, only because it's only your perspective that you can tell it from. You can change your story, you can rewrite it, a description. It's got to come out though. And you're seeing more and more people are panicking now. More and more people. So watch this. Truman Show in plain sight.
As Truman grew up, we were forced to manufacture ways to keep him on the island.
I'd like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore. There's really...
All right.
Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late.
There's a compass right there. So I had that map when I was young. I used to have a fascination for flags. I could tell you the capital city of every country, especially in Europe, South America. That's kind of gone out the window now, but I always had a fascination for that sort of stuff. So looking at the map again. So I was again trying to work out like how does this all work? Because we say Australia been here the longest, the indigenous. But they got discovered the latest, but the indigenous would have been here at the same time as creation of all the other lands on the other continents. So let me just flick through. So remember, everything's a mirror. As you come down to the pyramid, you come down into the body. I feel that the North Pole, which we say Iceland, is at the bottom of the spine, because you still have the seasons there. And I feel this ice wall is the Antarctica, and we're about to go into the depths of a new reality next. And I'm going to show you what come up for me. So I searched pelvis, and then this come up. Where are our loved ones that have been left their bodies, that have left their bodies here? That have left their bodies here. Well, in terms of burying the body, it's not their body. Remember, it's a vehicle that we're riding at this time. You're riding the wave. You're looking after your vehicle. So look at this position. So from the head down, you got the star. So I said Egypt. From the second level was the star and moon, and there's all those maps. Then the third level. So I was working out Australia, South America. So look, let's go at the points of the knees rather than the hands. But if you go down, there's the star, there's the next bit. So why is Australia so far away? Because it's further out in the body. Again, that made sense for me. So I come back to explorers, and all the narratives that we're being explained is in English. All the wars, I only knew about World War I, World War II. We don't get educated on wars because we don't need to know about that. They're telling us what we need to know. The evil people that think they've got hold of our school education think they're telling us a lie to keep them in power. At that time it was, but for the grand schemes of things, so the 1600s seemed to be the era of travel. All these explorers, but if you look at the names, Portuguese, many of them, Spanish, British, French. On all the old documentaries at history, it was always those ones. I didn't really see a lot on... we saw a bit on slavery when I was younger, but I didn't really see a lot on Persia, or I didn't know too much about Japanese history or Indian. It just wasn't shown. I'm interested, I'm fascinated, but again, you have to go and get the truth. And if they speak in a language that you have no concept of and it feels like a lot of hard work to learn, you're not going to go and get it. You have to rely on someone else's. So vessel, the soul is who you know. Yeah, so soul and self. Self is the body, mind, and the reflection is your soul. If you can't trust in yourself, trust your soul. That's the best way to do it. Some people don't want to take it personally. Well, you're going to treat your soul like that instead then. Oh, no, I've got to be good for my soul. So I then looked at the equator and I was trying to work out where the highest or the hottest points in the world was to try to work out where the spirals and that went down. And then I started looking at old traditions about Babylon and the Tower of Babylon. And so here's where I think this come in. So imagine on the top land, you can't even get to the top of the pyramid, like right at the very top, unless you are in God's space. The energy is too much. We hear about the same with the North Pole, Garden of Eden, Mount Meru, Shambhala. It's too powerful. So imagine if you was like, right, we're going to go down a level, but we're going to build a building that's higher than your land, so we're closer to God. What do you see in Dubai at the moment? They build these skyscrapers. You think, why on earth would they do that? Well, they try and get to the top of the world. That's why. Why are these nations so rich? Because they've been here the longest. They got the original gold. They got the original stories. They had the kingdom. Saudi Arabia is huge, but they also stopped anyone below them coming up to the truth. So then they let all the people do their own thing, but they're not coming up. There was no will to adventure. And as it comes down to the Brits that had nowhere else to leave that island apart from travel, and their neighboring land was mostly France. So you build different relationships. You have your own little battles. But you're just a middleman, just figuring it out. And again, you'd be interested. It's like, whoa, look at these secrets here. Look what they do over here in Persia. Look at the alchemy here. Look at the martial arts. Like, you can see how people are so powerful. And that's where the law of the sea comes in, people. The law of the sea, I'm not part of Israel. I'm not part of Morocco. I'm not part of that land over there in Mexico. I'm not part of that land. So what am I? Oh, I've got my own rules. Hence where the English language comes in, legalese. Hence now why I'm realizing that all many other countries, especially that speak Latin and stuff, they don't have law, common law. They don't have that. That's only in the lower countries because we created it. We created the law. We know the law and the language of the English, but we also created the lie too, which is the legal system, and let them have that. Remember, these evil people just take a good idea and run with it. So I was looking at Babylon, the way that it goes down. And if you look at, look, it says narrative and etymology. Watch this. So if you look at the different myths, look, Sumeria, the Greco-Roman parallel, Mexico, Arizona, Nepal, Botswana. So they're all speaking about this concept of the Babylon. Why? Because they were all around at that time. And now we think, how did they ever know? How did they get the same sort of infrastructure? And how did they get the same design? God, that's amazing. They're so advanced. No, they were all there at the same time. They just had ways of getting to each other back then. But the more deeper it gets, the more higher they go up, the more further away it looks from the eyesight. So I'm going to come on to a few more. But why is this important, people? Because a lot of people are like, I want to be looking at Donald Trump and stuff like that. Because beyond when that movie finishes, life continues. The movie is a life. It's an education. That's all it is. It's like we're going on Google at the moment, but it's showing us in real time. It's projecting images to us. It's giving us a storyline. It's feeding us the truth, but also leaving us open to find out what's going on and blending it in with our experience. It's like a 3D, 5D, 4D experience without the glasses. That's why. Because we have to wake up to what's going down. And imagine, all you've ever known is evil because you've been born into evil generations. You never really met God. They were hiding people from getting to God, but you thought, right, that's all you know. Now you're meeting people and you realize, God is real. So the next time, especially if you can accept that, stay in that heart center, accepting yourself is love. Getting just out on a piece of paper with a meaning. What did you take? A teaching, understanding. That's love. So when you die consciously, when Christ comes down to save you, well, you're going to wait until you die at the very last minute when you realize. That's why the story's been passed on. Or, no, I am God's children too. Children of the light, children of the dark. I'm still God's child. I'm choosing what t-shirt I'm wearing. I'm wearing the dark one. I continue doing it. I think that's all there is. So the next time you come in, you then got a choice of where you're going to come back. But this time you're going to come back into a world which is being cleared up from a lot of the evil, a lot of the stories that we've been forced down, especially about sinning and going to hell and in eternal damnation. They keep you in fear. And not only do they keep you in fear, they pump you with loads of medicine. So I was even then looking at the story of the Titanic, because again, it's a story, but I was trying to look from the iceberg and where it crashed and stuff as well. Because was it just like a random new bit of land that just popped out? So I've left some of my things open, but this was the bit, again, the duality. We thought the world was flat many years ago as humanity. Well, it looked like it because that's all you could see and that's all you could experience. The people at the bottom of the world, the creators, by going up through the oceans, which was the means of travel, and you can see all that now. How do US Navy control all the oceans? How does that make any sense? Like, how would they be able to get access to? Oh, they are the ocean. That's the bottom. They control all of it now. You put all your settings at the bottom. They control the airspace now, and they've managed to get Israel right at the top. That's why they supported Israel. Jerusalem. Jerusa. Lem. USA is in the middle. So if you look at a pyramid now, the base of the pyramid, and right at the very top, the all-seeing eye. And also they're now the gatekeeper for the new world. You've got to go through America. And you can understand why now build a wall, because when the world changes, everyone will just go hide in the new world, not be accounted for. So you had to clear up, because that's how a reset mostly continued to happen. And then the bigger the land, the more outstretched, the harder it is to contain people. The more easy it is to operate in the forest, in the woods, within the technology, because people are not aware of it. So look, both of these are psyops. You could call it, if you call it a psyop, both of these were the truth at the time. That was the way that they tried to educate people on the spirals, but they haven't given the full picture, perspective, lack of knowledge. And then you tell the evil people, look, we've lied to them with this globe. This is the truth. So when people have power, it means you've taken away something from someone else. So every part of creation, you tell them something that you say is the truth. You show them so they buy into the narrative, the movie, the blackmail. They never thought she would lose. Hip hop, Rodham Clinton. I'm even suggesting that Bill Clinton were taken out a long time ago, and all this is a movie. Laptop from hell. They want to be hanged. I realize that we need to hang our body. Hang them like clothes, because your muscles and your skin and your sheaths of tissues, all creases fall out. Like the words, the dumbs, the tunnels, you're dumb for believing it. The earthquakes, it's going along, it's blowing up the tunnels. No, it's mostly detaching the bottom earth that's been covered with roads and it's been hidden from different parts of land and restricted areas. That's being blown to be disconnected. Watch the water, you're going to see it all. Again, all these ideas. Why have they been spraying the skies to stop you looking up? It's only the English-speaking countries that seem to have the skies being sprayed all the time. It's like clockwork, so they mostly know when they can do it. Or again, the technology is so advanced, we can't comprehend it. So then I was looking at Iceland, because they say it's the opposite to the North Pole. You get summer as well. So if it's at the spinal column, it's right at the bottom. The 7 layers of the chakras, 7 chakras, is a 7 continents. Let me show you some other ones. So this was at the bottom of the sea. So I was trying to map out, and I couldn't do it. I need some help on it, but I was trying to map out and trying to get what's the lowest below sea level, and there was 33 countries. What's the highest all the time? Right, so let me catch up with people. That was definitely a plan for the FR. Makes sense to me. But think about the plan. We're all part of it now. We can choose to get into God's plan, and we're moving that way anyway. We're conscious now. The more the outside is being dealt with, what does it leave us next? To go and explore the temple. We're almost at that stage where we're learning about it. And what did I say? You have to go down and come back up. So we go down, get more understanding about us. That's just into our meditation to start with. Not try to chase and get there as quickly as I can and then pretend I'm an expert. And now I'm talking about your star family and your personality is matching that. Don't talk that nonsense. Go down and then come back up with your new knowledge, like the adventures, go around the world and come back and learn about yourself. Put into practice, and then come back and revisit some of the stories. You get a deeper meaning to the truth. Again, different viewpoints, different dimensions. Everything comes back to you every time. So then I was trying to look at some of the hottest points in the world. So again, you had Death Valley in California. So I'm then trying to map out what was the peak points at all these places. So America has everything. So I think, look, South America was the gateway down to America. Mexico was the gateway to the stairs. It starts in Death Valley. Then you got Arizona. Arizona, California, the most corrupt states in America because it's closest to the sun. They got there first, but that was the gold diggers. The hottest places are always the gold. There's so much gold in America that we don't know, but you'd never tell them that story. So the criminals would go up the ladder. Can you see what, like, over time, generations? And think about how big the world is too. Like, people can situate anywhere. Growing up, we are influenced by movie star, rock stars, sports stars. Most importantly, we are the star. When we forget about ourselves, we go into the darkness. We become someone who we aren't. Look inwards. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Burkano. And we are the star. Remember, God's star. Star of the night sky. That night comes down as a hero into the mind's eye, second floor, into the body. Then we go back up the body with love, creation, connecting us as the soul, S-O-U-L. You make a U-turn. We go up and down, we look at it, and then you go up out of the body, looking down from a higher perspective as the spirit. Next is quantum. That's 6 dimensions. Again, I don't need to go into that too much, but that's where we're at in terms of understanding. So watch this. We'll come even more. So then I was looking, like, how many bones of the body, and this is how clever this is. So there's 206 bones of the body. I'm suggesting there's a different bit of land for every bone. So I said, how many countries are there? So they said there's 195 registered countries, but some people say there's 206 countries. Funny that, we've got 206 bones and 206 countries. Coincidence? Do you think? We got 7 continents, 7 chakras. Coincidence? We got down the ladder and it gets bigger and bigger, more space. It gets colder, like a thermometer. It's bright idea at the top, like a light bulb that spirals down. Electromagnetism from Tesla coils. Coiling because the earth coils, the sun coils. Think depth, dimension, 4 dimension. We've only been conditioned, people. So this is the thing. When you learn life, you have to go down a level, or what we'd say up a level, to make sense of it. So the sun is everything first. You come down one level for the mind and sun, but in the end, you have to go back up to the truth every time. So now we're going to go, we've gone 2 steps down, 1 up. Then we go down to the 3rd level. This time in the 3rd level, look, this is us. We're 3D, but we're learning life in 2D. We're looking at a screen right now. We had maps, we had books. It's only been since the advancements of technology, 3D, 5D, see how the eyes work, wide lens, fish eye. That's all us. It's kind of pointing, I know you can do a lot more with your eyes. It's a connection to your vessel. It's a connection to your mind. You've got to just tell it. Your mind's in control of the body. Keep speaking to it. Then feel with the body. Body-mind connection. Alignment. Align mind. Alignment with the body. Can you see, people, like, all the words now just flow out? It's like they've left us clues at every... That's God. It can't be anyone else. But for the man to create it was mind. But God spoke through, even the mind's eye. It's creation. So watch this. I then started looking at the chakras because I've been told that there's energy points around the body. When I went to Hawaii, there was 7 islands that they said was the energy centers. I felt the magic there. But a macrocosm has a million microcosms from every angle. So then I was trying to look at the Earths, and there's some interesting stuff. The one thing that, again, you can look at all this information being presented, and some of it sounds good, it rings true. It still has to be confirmed by you. I can't take any of this as a truth, full truth. I'm learning. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'm now going to try and match it up. But what I'm saying now, I'm making sense of it with my words. I feel like I'm connecting it with the experience. But it can't be the full truth. I haven't worked it all out either. I go to God. I go in my meditations. I then get some idea, the spark. Now I need to look at it, make sense. Now I need to feel it. Does it still feel sense? Now I need to explain it. So people say that there's the energy center. And I was trying to work it out from the different points I was saying. So look, Hawaii is there. I'm going with Israel and Egypt as the two. Look, as they are here, the top two. They're telling you different ones. And then I'm going with, where would I go next? I'd say, yeah, see, this doesn't make sense to me looking at it like that. I'd say Asia. Again, you can't just take the country, you have to take the point of land. And again, the spirals like this. So again, I've got a lot of work to do, but you can see where my mind's going. So this is important. It's the Antarctic Treaty. I lived on Oahu for a few years. It was peaceful. I bet it was amazing there. The words in the Bible are divisible by 7. Weird. Change that word weird. God's going to go, how's it weird? I made it obvious for you. I made it easy for you. Life is easy. The truth is easy. Make it more exciting. I learned so much. My heart is smiling. Love that. Things are unraveling. Look at the word, unraveling. Around the curve. Yeah, it curves that way. And what did he say? All the sayings that we had in COVID, got to get beyond the curve or something like that. Trust the science. Yeah, we are going to be trusting it after this. That's all you can trust is back it up, but still the experience comes first. So the Antarctic Treaty and a few more things link up. So 1959 was all put into play. I've got some more information on it, but here's all the countries. And I was trying to look on the map, and you'll see in all the Israeli countries and all that, they don't have it. African countries, they don't have it. So we come back to the map again. It goes down this way. Australia has a lot. New Zealand has a lot. And then you've got all this big, like it's massive. We're not being shown it for a reason. Look at the size of Greenland there. Again, we only know it as snow, but that's mostly just being covered up for us at the moment. Why are they lying about Google on the maps? Because we're in control of Google. We created Google. So let's go to this one here. So just the countries. Then look. So the Antarctic Treaty was signed in. Oh, how many states did people say for America? Did anyone say? No mention. I'm going to ask, how many states do you think there are in America? It's like a Mandela effect I had. Isn't there a big mountain up there? Which one, Tone? Flatten the curve. That's the one. Yeah. Say up. Okay, I was weird and condescending. Sorry, my bad. Never sorry. Remember, I'm looking from different perspective. Always. And I will challenge people on words. You change your words, you change your life. 40. 40? Where have you got that from? 52, God's messenger. Anyone else? And I think this is done for a reason as well. So we didn't investigate the last 2. There's only 50 states, people. 50 states and 50 state 4. Thank you, Stevie Bananas. I thought 52 as well, but what I searched, let's see if it comes up. 52 states. I thought the last 2 states, Hawaii, Alaska. There's only 50 states. And they said, oh, some people think there's 52. And it's because Washington and Puerto Rico were originally states. But that's been done deliberately. So you take 2 off and then you don't investigate anymore. Because if it's like, oh, there's 52 and they're the last 2, you'd go, oh, let me look into this. Why is that? Hawaii isn't a state. Hawaii is a state. Hawaii and Alaska are both states. Alaska is the 49th state and Hawaii is the 50th. Both joined in 1959. So look, they joined in 1959 and the Antarctic Treaty was signed in 1959. Can you see it all makes sense? Because underneath those two, they realized it goes a lot deeper. So if we take those two bits of land, we know that we're going to have, it's going to be the biggest country, USA. That's why everything's going there. And we're starting to see all the footballers. I think there's a split. And I think this is done more by design. The evil have gone up there for money. I'm going to say evil, corrupted power, agents, relations, anything like that. Ego, greed. Yeah, all the football is going to be played in America. You had the Messiah, Messi, and you had the Cristiano, Christ. They've gone their different ways. I think there's some different things going on there as well, because you put all the Cristiano led them all there, and now they're getting all paid top dollar, ridiculous money, insane money. But Saudi Arabia, the first country that Trump went to. So think about it. They're the kingdom. They were the funders of terror because they had a bird's eye view. Who was the most intelligence people? Right at the top. Israel, Mossad, Israel intelligence. They've been taken out too. A story. So you're working down, but Saudi Arabia mostly work down all the time. That's why not many people are allowed to go there. That's why they could behead people's women and stuff for playing football or driving a car, and they let them get away with it until Trump went. So the Antarctic Treaty, 1959. The two states in America, because it is 50 states, Hawaii, Alaska, the last two, 1959. And then I was looking at, well, as an explorer, and I realized Australia, the land, there's so much more there. Even the land, people say it's not the right shape. And in the middle of Australia, so hot, it's not livable. I think that's been done on purpose. It was out the way. And what did they do then of all? They used to ship all the prisoners from, Brits used to ship them first of all to America, because that was mostly just land back then. And they realized, hang on a minute, there's a lot more here after they did the exploring. They have a deal with the guys in America. I don't even think it was America Brits. I just think that they all worked there, got there first, and realized they're going to come along. They're going to see what we're doing. We need to obviously do importing and transporting and stuff. Ireland is our gateway to that. So they mostly had all that knowing. And then the Brits, the royal family, come over and say, right, we're taking this. And they was like, no. So then they started shipping all the criminals to Australia. So imagine a criminal being shipped to this new bit of land, which is how I see, actually, when we talk about the death penalty and stuff, God wins. People have their right to God. God's the only people who can forgive them. So if you've done wrong in this human state, which is so abysmal, and that was your choice, death penalty and stuff, yeah, I feel there's going to be a lot of places where, as you live on the land, let nature consume you. If that's how you're going to end your life, you're going to learn, you're going to know God by the end of it. That's for true. I feel that there's going to be a lot more to these high max prisons also, because God is there in a world that is God ever present. Then people can change too. So I feel like for me, I forgive. I just don't accept people that continue still to try and deceive me. Like some of the things that come my way, I see what you're doing. Like, I'm not playing into your game. I'm not reacting to it. I've reacted to the CF today. That's the first time I spoke about that. These people try to kill me. They set me up in the groups and stuff. Like, I'm not falling for that stuff anymore. I'm not going down my pyramid to do it all. So imagine you've been given a second chance of life back in the day. They send all the you're just thankful to be free. Now you get to then set up a life. So people have been put out there. However, you've still been conditioned from a criminal mentality. You've been given not really much to go with. You've just got all these Aborigines that are already here. Like, we don't know what really went on, but however, ego will only operate in now for control power. It's built into the mind's eye. So there's no real keen willingness to go and explore. And I searched then, surveyors are liars. I wouldn't say liars. They just changed the perspective. They're mostly telling you in a 3D. So when I'm speaking to you and I'm telling you about the land, I'm just telling you in 3D, knowing that if I could speak to you in 4D, it's a lot more underneath. We have two lives. The second one starts when you realize you have the one. And then also, if you go like the maps as well. Criminals are the gatekeepers of information. We're seeing a lot of the truth movements being infiltrated by that over the last few years because they've done all they can to stop this coming out, because the only thing that comes out by the end of it is the truth about who these people are and what has been going on. And it's the deep state network. Even the word deep state, I think that's been put in there because we're going to be all going into that deep state of bliss soon. It's the deepest state. That's the best state. Love. Go into the darkness. Light. That's the truth. Go into my temple. It gets darker, but I'm going down the well with my lantern on. And every time I get lower, it brightens up. I'm like, whoa, look at that down there. So it's the same. So I don't feel that there's a desire to go and explore in places like Australia. Also, you're so secluded from the rest of the world. So then I typed in no-go areas. And there was loads about like when places were just stopped after wars, and Venezuela is the oil-rich country and stuff. And most probably it is, and they're all distracted by that, but not looking at what else there is. So there was loads of different places. But I found a cool video as well. In the, again, 1777, Captain Cook and the Cook Islands. There was 4 islands on the map. On my last video, I showed you the Mercator maps in the 1600 around the North Pole. But the North Pole's not north up. The North Pole's north down. Those 4 islands represent the chambers of the heart. And they said it was like the flush in and out. I look at that space as like the hole to the lower earth. And if you look at then the, you know, when you have a downward pyramid and you've got the sand in it, a timer, it's all pouring down and soon it's going to go whoop. And then we're going to come back up again. Like loads of things like that. Again, that's God's creation, people. You say it don't make sense, or you say, no, it can't be, but that's the way that law works. We're just trying to put things into words. You're not the drop in the ocean. You're the whole ocean in one drop. Rumi. All the wise words from the, like back then, I'm like, how did they come up? Because they were the wise ones at that time. They were in speaking the word of God. So what else is there? Countries, elevations. Oh, yeah. So this is when I got really kind of geeky. I was like, is there something about the color of the flags? So I typed in, there was a lot of black flags here. So I was thinking, right, who come up with all these ideas for flags? And again, who gave countries names? Who split it up into these? That's only creation. So I feel like we've split up different countries based on different stuff with the knowing. So what's this? Where is my... Hang on. Oh, yeah, here. So I searched in the world's flags and 7 charts. How old are the national flags? The oldest one was Norway. But if you look at the lands that we're going on, and then Greenland and the big lands, Norway's the highest one. So those people... they're warriors. It's almost like they've been living in these torrential conditions and still managed to survive back then. That's why they're so pasty. And then you had the Vikings, and you had the Scots and the Celts, and then it come up. They were just tough men because they were just in treacherous conditions. So watch this, people. How many chakras have we got? There's 7 colors used on the maps, on the flags. On every flag around the country, there's only 7 colors. I'm like, how is that? So I feel like white is the top color. Blue has also been used in that. And I look at the Israel flag, the Star of David, the star in the sky at the very top. So people, when you say that star has got 6 sides on it, yeah, if you're told 666 is bad, yet we gave it meaning. We tell evil people that's evil. But it's an ongoing star, different levels. If you look at it, different levels. 6-sided star. It's blue as well. Ukraine flag was blue and yellow, constantly in our face. What color was used in Hawaii's fake fires from the laser attacks? What was protected? What color was that? Blue. What color is all those things around Epstein's temple? Blue. It's wrapped around. You're wrapped in God's hands. What is in a temple? God. You pray to God. So you make these things so evil, but you know it's in God's hand. The fingerprint of God. is also the pedo logo with a blue squiggle. So if you're going to have the most evil ideas ever, because we know there's pedophiles, but we make it so evil that they have secret elite meetings and stuff. And fuck, some people actually want to go and do this, sick people. We're going to catch them all in this island in the middle of nowhere with Epstein and everything. But you're in God's hands. If you want the most evil of evil pedophile stuff to be a logo, what logo do you want? God's fingerprint. So God at the end of it is saying, I've got this. Yeah, this is going on. I was busy going down the world trying to find out my creation, know who I was. I left my brothers and my sons. I left all my son and my children for free will, just thinking that they knew the truth. And they've gone and done things in their own way. And I've come back now, we're all connected, and I can see what is going on. God's plan in action. They hijack the symbols, exactly. So think the symbol is the truth. It's just it's a creation from something. You could call the symbol was an inspiration from the tree I saw over there, or an inspiration for the way that the waves wrap round, or the inspiration for inspirations. So before it got to the mind, that was the truth. That was my experience. Then man gives it meaning. So all symbols are God, people. And now we know that. Now we can see who's given it evil. If you've given something evil, there's a reason for it. So there's 7 colors. So I looked at the countries that had orange. And again, it was really, really interesting. I'll come on to it in a minute. But look at this. And you tell me there's something going on here. There's something going on here. Look, most Jews color coordinations, blue, red, and white. I think that's from the highest point to the lowest point, something like that. I need to work it out. I feel when we can get the map right, I think these are different levels going on too. And these are all images blocking the light path. And the only way it all fits in together if it's white all the way down. That's what I think. I think white's been the ever consistent. And there is a way where it all... So that means there's only one truth. Follow the light. What else is there? Oh, yeah. So this was quite cool. So I was then thinking, is colors representing levels? Because South Africa has 6 colors. There's 6 countries that have 6 colors. I think Romania, Andorra. No, I might be wrong on Andorra. Romania, and someone will have to help me out on the other one. And then I looked at South Africa back on the map again. And I've been South Africa a few times. And again, my wisdom, I feel that's come from all my travel. I've been Australia. I've done South Africa. I've been South America. I've been in America at the highest point, it seems like. I've been all the way through Europe. I've been Thailand. I've been Philippines. I've done Barbados, Caribbean. I've been Sweden. That's pretty low down on the cold fit. So I feel like I've been loads of places, but it's just the energy. I remember going to Brazil, get off the plane. I'm like, I love it here. And then I went to South Africa. I'm like, oh, South Africa is my favorite place. Then I come back for the Olympics in Brazil. I'm like, actually, this is I felt it. I went to Hawaii and like, whoa, this is magic here. So coming back to the island, look, South Africa has some massive mountains, but it also has some really hot places too. It even had penguins on the beach in Boulders Bay. Madagascar is one of the last islands to be found. So I feel like that swirls right down. And they're finding stuff out as well. So I feel like the tip of South Africa then goes down into lower Africa. So again, you can see where my mind's thinking, because I've never really I never worked good with shapes and stuff at school either, when they did like cubes and stuff. Never understood it. So then I was just looking at the relationship with flags. There was one more I wanted to show you on the flags one, which was quite cool. Oh, yeah. So with all the different symbols, look. So these are all the countries that had the moon and the star. I feel that was floor 2. Moon and Earth. Then you've got like the highest point, it seems to be, which is the soul, like Japan, like white and red. Yeah, really interesting. But one's for people to go and have a look at, and then the complexity of the flag. All this stuff's here, though. All of it. I just never thought. So I was trying to look at the map this way. It's going down that way, And then there's like so if you imagine the head in Israel here, you got the shoulders of the earth. You got then the lower point, which is going to be the legs that keep going down. Hawaii does really have a whole piece of energy. Yeah, it's magic. It's magic. And also you have every season. It says, so in Mauna Kea, I stayed in Kona and I stayed in a resort on my retreat. But I was grateful that I went around the big island beforehand, because the big island, they say it's like two people on the top of the mountain smoking a bong. And you get every weather condition. I've got an amazing video actually might share. It was like a time-lapse video of my drive up to the mountain. We had about 5 different rainbows. We had storms. We had clouds. It was magic. Every day it was like that. I saw double rainbows all the time. So I feel like that's at towards the center of the earth. So you got places like Iceland. Then I feel the next one up is Hawaii. Then I feel the next one up after that. Where did I have earlier? What was my next one point up to that? Oh, and then go up to the top. It'd be Israel. Egypt was at the top of the middle. So going down, I feel like there is one. It might be Great Britain in the middle. So again, I'm still trying to work it out, but you can see where my mind's going here. Mexico. So actually, that was the point. Castles and temples. I feel that the countries that had them are more middle, because that was the roots to the chakras to start with. That's how they mirrored the energy from the sky. Yeah, again, I'm just trying to go for it all. So then I was trying to look at a globe, which I would never, ever dare take this out anymore. It's rubbish. It doesn't work. But I was trying to do it from the highest perspective here. So right at that point there, the crown, and then I was trying to spin it round. So I've worked out how to do that now. I need to buy a compass. I'd never understood why we needed one at school. Let me just show you the compass. I'm going to keep going, people, because I feel like this is massive. And I've got a lot of other stuff to go here. So look, the compass with the flat, with the Earth curve calculator, every 1 kilometer is 8 meters squared. I just feel like you just now get a compass. Look, so for every level down, you increase the range, and that's when you get your levels. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to buy a compass. So I don't think we've ever been lied to. Or what's the circumference of the Earth? And then when he started going, oh, it's like a pear shape and stuff. He's mostly telling you the truth. He's an actor. Tyson, he's mostly telling you the truth. Look, it gets like a pear shape. Now it's going to get even thicker at the bottom, because we're now getting that. The measurements can only be till this point. And they leave ridiculous clues in plain sight, like the 666 and the curve. They mostly created that to capture all the evil, to stop people wanting to go and venture out, and also knowing when we come at this moment in time, we're just going to flip it on its head. Everyone's been lying about it's been exposed. It's the same with JFK. He announced, we're going to go to the moon. And then the next 3 presidents, all after him, all lied about the space program. So you catch him in the lie. And the lie continued all the way up to Obama, where he kept talking about the Flat Earth Society and stuff as well. They've all been caught in a lie because they never know the truth. They've never been in God. Right. So what else have I got here then? So just gives you things to think about. What else did I see? Oh, yeah. So I tried to do the neighboring countries so I could do my spiral. So Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Palestine. And then you got Lebanon and Egypt. So because of the pyramids, I feel like the step down was Egypt first. And then these are, and again, you can find the flags at spiral with the half moon, the crescent. And you can work it out that way. So Israel, the promised land, biblical Israel is generally thought as the region south and southwest of Lebanon mountains. So you can imagine even back then when the story starts, oh, this has to be God's creation because it is at the top. You can imagine if creation started from the bottom and it worked its way up first of all, God already's done the journey already. And that's why we got all these ancient ruined buildings, mostly from a long time ago. You can imagine then you've got the story about the flood, the great flood and Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark would make complete sense if the whole world was just ocean and there was a tiny bit of land. You wouldn't know what else was there. And you can imagine how animals got to different places. They're mostly separating them, protecting their kingdom with all the most vicious animals on that land and all the snakes on these islands, Snake Island, these two. But as it comes down, it's like, shit, we've just left those animals on their own. They're in it to defend themselves. God's plan, I was looking at the different biblical text on it to do with God's plan, loads of stuff. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded that the man, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden. So you can imagine even the stories that are being told about Jesus, the character and stuff. It had to be told and passed down all the way through. But they still haven't told the next part of the story. We're now not waiting on a book to be told it, because a book can be interpreted many ways. It has to be translated. That's a long way of doing it. Let's make movies instead. And at the same time, we can hide in plain sight. We can show people what's going on. We can also attract all the people trying to be up and get famous. But you can't be in creation unless you're God. You can't produce a movie like the level that they do unless you're in that God space, creation. You can't fake acting to a point where everyone can see, well, you're a bad actor. And then you can set people up, play your role, play your character. You play the drug dealer, you do it, or you're going to be great. They're giving away their secrets. You're on set with them for a long time. So even like Mel Gibson, Jim Caviezel, I think they've all played their role. Tom Hanks was like, yeah, I'll take the pedo. Quentin Tarantino, yeah, I'll take the hit on that. Madonna, yeah, I'll play that one. Madonna was married to Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie makes all these movies. A good one is to watch The Revolver. Revolver. It's a game of chess. It's amazing. So again, people, everything that we now know, I've just now showed you. If we take it to this deeper level, then all that stuff you're going to have to take face value. There's a different level to it. There's a different dynamic to it. The story's been going on for so long, and Hollywood has been the way to share the whole truth about all the lands on the big screen. Knowing that people won't venture out of their house, they're not interested, but they watch it on a screen. And if it makes you famous and rich, it's got to be real. If it's on the news, it's got to be real. Can you see how the psyop's been going on? The CIA, he created it. Right, we need to go into all these other countries and find out what's going on. How did America have the power to stay on top of them? Funding. How did it, the corruption, and knowing that people in the CIA, contractors, will go and get temptation, blackmail. That's how it all works. But the bigger picture, we set up the systems. So I was looking at different maps now, and you can start seeing, like, my eyes are looking at things differently. I'm like, whoa, that goes down. So Lady Gaga, good. I don't even think her name's Lady Gaga, or obviously it's not. But I think the person that we were shown is not the same person that we're seeing now. I even think all the adrenochrome. Jim Caviezel was the first person to mention that. And the reason why I say that, people, in 2020, it was the same story being told by all these truthers. They come out of nowhere. Medbeds, Nasara, Jasara, XRP, buy gold, buy silver. That was a common thing. And then you had all the spiritual teachers talking about 5D ascension, talking about Galactic Federation, talking about Palladians. That seemed to be the thing. Then you had the original truthers talking about flat Earth. And they went on so much to become experts on that. And I remember there was a guy called Durf, and we had him on a show. He was so unconscious. Like, we weren't talking, we were talking to a robot effectively. And then there was a guy that was friends with Durf, and like, I found out loads of stuff on there. Nah, Trump's evil. I'm like, you're not willing to look. So I realized people don't want the truth. They want to just protect their area. And then in the truth movement, they've got their lanes. They only stay in their lane. Half the people don't talk about themselves. Half the people have got a fake image. I'm going to throw it out there too. Breb Shiesty. I feel that he's a white hat. I feel the character of the AI, you should make him a horrible, aggressive person and going after all these other people. Linwood's not there. Linwood was taken out a long time ago. Breb Shiesty is a guy that does research, and I feel characters like that, you've never seen him, but they repeat him. Like, I get called Larry the soul coach, or the mole coach. Larry the mole coach, they call me. The amount of people that have called me that name that I know are Breb followers, but it's Breb that called me. They repeat, and it's moaning, and it's this, and General Flynn, and you're a Flynn bro. I feel that people that want to do the research are in fear gravitate to people that can back up their stuff, but because they're having a moan, we're on the same pair. I feel like they're teachings. because you're going to get to a point where you're wrong about the Freemasons completely. And he keeps tagging me in the videos of my own video about the Freemasons and then just lets it play all the way through. So even if you watch it, it's going to go, that makes sense. And then you get the people that argue for him. He never comes in arguments with me, but he goes after General Flynn. He goes after Sidney Powell. He goes after The Sound of Freedom when it comes out, Tim Ballard. He's going after all the people that we're in control of. So it's just exposing more truth, doing it in an aggressive way. And the teaching is stop being a follower and a parrot and a sheep. And these people, they are educated. They do like facts. And what do they say? Receipts, receipts, receipts. They repeat the same words. Grifter, grifter, grifter. None of these words I heard of before. And the true movement repeat them all. Repeating in the same emotions, anger, negativity, refusal to go and look. Refusal. A guy called me out the other day, script keeper. I like the fact that he's outspoken. I've never gravitated to any stuff because he's angry. I just wrote back, God, you're so miserable all the time. He called me out on one of my posts. So miserable all the time. Like, we're in full control. That's it. Like, he calls me Larry the Mole Coach too. Oh, you said about Tom Hanks and Tom Hanks. I've said it for a long time, but you've not once watched my research. I've done loads of research on it. You've watched a TikTok video and say, I haven't done the research. I encourage people, if you want to know the truth, go watch it all and then come back calmly and just say, what bit do you feel is wrong? I don't put stuff out unless, and like today, I'm sharing with you what's come up. I'm giving my interpretation. I feel like I've connected a few things for myself and for others. I've got loads to go though. I don't hold on to anything. So we're seeing that now. So I think there's a lot of good people out there. There is more good than bad. But I feel like it's the fear aspect that we're holding on to. And fear comes from we're hiding something within our life. We haven't dealt with it. And the one thing is, if we start at the top of the triangle again, the soul before we even have the human experience, come and meet me in my meditations. Come from the truth first of all, and then come back down. That's my one ask. And I know for a fact, everyone that argues with me, everyone moans at me, they've never done my meditation. That's God's space. We share it all. Everyone who's done my meditation, how many times do you get angry in it? How many times do you get annoyed and wound up? Never. Never. If someone says I get frustrated, it's because your dog walked in or your kids walked in or your music weren't playing properly. Once you're in that meditation state, all there is calmness. There's sadness. Things come up. So if you want to accept God into your lives, that's the gateway. You go down the pyramid, straight back up, illuminated. You've gone straight to 5D. You've now had the experience. Go, oh, this is it. Now you go downstairs. In the mind, 4D, you create, you love. You're now curious. You're now listening to others. Now you're feeling, actually, my body's so important. I'm going to nourish it. I'm going to give it energy, exercise. I'm going to talk to it. I'm going to rest my body. And then if I come back up to the mind, the simplistic part is one or the other. Duality. It's 2D. And then one up there. So anyone spewing confusion and chaos gets the boot. Yeah, I block them now. And I always kind of I realize I focus more on that. I'm trying to help people wake up and snap out of it. But I realize some people just want an argument. I don't need to. But I feel like I have to go back to everyone because I have done it to some people and they said, you know what? Your comment made me snap out of it. I realized how angry I was. One person said, I even messaged my ex-wife. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't listen to you. He said, I had a cry and I felt better after. So sometimes it is awareness. People think my responses are harsh, but it's only because you've only just met me. And again, if you come onto my page moaning or go off topic about anything, then you get a blunt answer. You take it personally. I'm talking to some words on the screen. That's it. Harry, yeah, and Cherry, never in big capital. Cherry, lovely Cherry. It's getting God every time he goes into meditation. Can I confidently, knowingly say that? Am I showing you who God is? Or are you feeling something inside you that you have experienced many times, but now you're there and you know it and you're now creating in it? These cathedrals that we're being shown, that's what we imagine inside our body. People that have good memory, they create their own memory building in their temple. And they say, right, for anything to do with history, I'm in that temple over there. That's how they do it all. They create it all. They expand. It's imagination. And the big never, it's impossible. That's why I know the soul is a truth. It is impossible to get angry when you're taking the mind out of the way. It's impossible. And again, if you've gone raving, I'm doing one on raving and addiction. I'm going to take you to a rave. I'm going to bring back all those emotions, but I'm going to get you so present in it. And at the same time, you're going to connect with your body from that high. You're going to have the high from within that you're going to say hi to your soul. When you've had these experiences raving on drugs, you met God. Why did people chase it? Why do they stay to early hours in the morning? Because we have to get back to the normal time otherwise. We have to do it when we can fit it in. You're in God at those moments. It's just the way that we've been explained it. And also, it's like a nuclear bomb that's gone off in your body. You've gone, boom. So you've just gone up with the spirit. So you're high. You just now need to get above the high and then control it. So that high feeling when you feel like you're out of control is taking you up there. The Incas and Machu Picchu and stuff, and you do ayahuasca ceremonies. For me, it takes you straight up. It's like the illuminated triangle beyond capability, but it shows you what else there is. It's amazing. Glow sticks and pacifiers too. Yeah, we can have all that. We can have all that. I've got a few tracks that I connected with. I've even got one now, people, on the stairs in the gym. I like going on the stairs. I can zone out to a point where I think if people are looking at me, I look dead. I can switch my whole body off, but I go off on a different one. And I've even now got working how I can trigger memories of my old raving days. Yeah, it's crazy, but there's like that's what I mean. It's getting the experience. Once you get to the meditation, it's your imagination. It takes it. It's infinite possibilities. My life is beautiful peace always. How good's that? Your soul is always every direction, always every perspective. That's the soul. That's God, people. It's simple. So it's like I keep saying all these things, do meditation, do this thing. I'm not saying it because I just want to, I'm saying it because you feel amazing. The world shifts quickly, but it's just give it one go. And then you'll feel that the mind gets in. You couldn't settle. Your mind drifted. That's a good teaching. That's a good lesson. Right, let's move on because I've been on. So then I was starting to look at, right, if this war, it keeps going to the Stairmaster. That's the one. If this mind's got the war, Harry Truman, but before that, Freemasons, George Washington, 1776. So if I typed in the American wars. If you type in American US military foreign conflicts, they've intercepted 400 around the world now. This is the same war. Look, join or die, cut off the head of the snake. So I was looking at where are the locations? Ronald Reagan, that whole era with Gorbachev and stuff like that. I'm telling you, a lot of that was all made up. The Jew story in World War II was just to allow us to get right up there. The evil people think that. So when people say Zionist, be careful because we don't know. It's good and bad now, good and bad. Bad hide in good clothes. They hide in plain sight, but they can't. And now I'm seeing people panic, like getting triggered. I haven't seen certain people get triggered, and they will when they're hanging on for dear life, because it is survival now. They'll try to get where they can feel safe. I forgive everyone, as long as you forgive yourself. If I can forgive you, that means God's already forgiven you. That means that many other people have forgiven you. But if you continue lying, continue deceiving, we feel it now. There's a disruption. You've got in the way. You're changing the story. So look, the Mexican War, the American Civil War, the Spanish War. So it's going up. World War I. Now we're in Europe. World War II. 1945. That's when we went to Antarctica. Korean War, right. We had the Hiroshima. In World War II, one of the end of the wars, we had the fake thing, Pearl Harbor. But at the same time, Japan surrendered. Korean War. Vietnam War. Remember we had the Falklands War. I think that was in Argentina. The Gulf War. And then you got the war in Afghanistan. The Iraq War. We're going up, people. We're clearing it each step of the way. But the narrative is we're showing it all. Again, really interesting. Goes up to Somalia. Look, present. Niger, Pakistan, Yemen. All these countries we're hearing on the news now. Hawaii. Then I looked at volcanic countries. I know there's volcanic, so that kind of makes more sense how volcanoes operate. It's closer to the ground. And we say the shifts of the Earth. So I think this is quite a nice one to see it kind of spiral down. If you kind of zoom out with your lens and knowing that some land, look, it's like it squiggles down, but that squiggles in the middle. Yes. If anyone's got an eye for this, I'd love to be able to do that. The Cold War. Megan has Nintendo thumbs. Stevie Bananas. Wow. And yes, I'm seeing many people acting like never before and screaming scared. That's all it is. Yeah. Politicians, panic in DC. You got 3 movies going on. The Pfizer Gate, which is Obama Gate, 1,000 times worse than Watergate. That's like the funding of the Open Society. That's all like the highest of the highest crimes, like war. Then you got the panic in DC. So all the politicians, they were like the middlemen, all of them, pedo politicians all around the world. And then you got the pedo protectors. The pedo protectors are the people opening society that protected the pedo politicians. And then you got the elitists at the top. It runs down. To get up that powerful, you've got to do something to corrupt yourself. They use it in blackmail. So the higher up. So I feel like something happened in 2017. I still think it was led by the good guys too. I feel like this black book that we're talking about, I feel like everyone that's done wrong has been part of a black book. I know certain mates that I grew up in college, and they all used to go around doing all sorts, getting fights all the time, and with women, and I know that some of them got corrupted because there would be a moment where they just changed, but they have to live with that for the rest of their life. So you pray to hope that it disappears. You'll see a lot of men go and do these brother things where they go off as men and their tribe, and they're all criminal. I'm not all of them. The ones that set up are, and I say that I know 3 people that now I remember the story that they told me, that they come back into society. I've been told certain stories, and I remember, that's why they were telling me. It was almost like a confession. So much to even take into consideration here. Again, that all changes if you let God in your life. Imagine if you stayed silent for the rest of your life. Imagine if you stay silent. So it's only you and God, no one else. Because you've got to talk. It's because you listen to the outside world. It's because you're looking, you're being influenced. But if you didn't act differently, you just stayed silent, no one ever know who you were apart from you and God. So then I'm going to show you this. Triple ball chin. Yeah. I was a kid during the Gulf War. That's wild. And the Bidens, ball sack shit. Yeah. That's not the Biden. They had to come up with someone who was corrupt that they could link all the crimes together. So they saw what Biden's crime family were doing. Hunter Biden, I feel like is a made-up character. I really do. Hunter Biden being hunted, turns on his father. I think like Greta Thunberg. Oh, it's George Soros' nephew. No, I think that's just a made-up character. We took George Soros out. You bring this little girl that goes around the world, talks about climate change. But what it really does, it shows the whole world how stupid these experts and scientists would let a little girl out who's got Asperger's be on these panels and stuff, and we accept it. And she hated Trump, and I think she over-exaggerated, because the thing is, climate change is a joke. But paying attention to our world, because the people that fight climate change, when they find out the truth of what these evil people have been doing to the world, they'll turn instantly. Then we become one again. Where we go one, we go all. So watch these two. I'm going to play these two. Now take into what I just said, because this is in Norway, and at the end he's like, oh, and climate change is ruining the thing, but it's not. So watch it now with new perspective.
So right now we're at the Lenbrand ice patch. We're in south central Norway. We are currently at our base camp, which is at about 1,650 meters above sea level. And behind me is the last remains of the ice leading up to the Lost Mountain Pass. And we can already see that the ice has receded a lot since last time we
Mountain Pass.
did field work here.
Oh, at the top, we know that there had been a route here, at least from 200 AD. And
So he says we're at the top, they're at the very bottom.
With a lot of transportation in the Viking Age, but after that, this route was forgotten. Now we find different items from up to 6,000 years ago. That tells a whole new story about the importance of the mountains in the past, both in Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. Where I'm sitting now is more or less the Vikings' highway from the inland to the...
Think about it, people. So if the sun's going down and every time it goes is full cycle, because it feels like the time's getting quicker now. Again, it's been digitalized. But as it's going down now, it's revealing more things. So what Suggestion is having it is they're finding more stuff each time, and they're complaining that the ice is disappearing. They're not realizing that it's getting more. Is every time it's going to get lower and lower. So they're going to find more stuff. So really, we started at Christ, and we're coming down. Those books, I'm convinced, were written in 1600. So all these timelines after, I feel like the UK timelines were all made up, all these false stories and stuff, to make it look like that there's all these different times. It was all kind of uncovered at the same time. What Suggestion has it, though, is already gone through a cycle, because there's been things left here. So if we're still going down, but there's already been things left, suggesting that the world had evolved so much even before, and that's why we find all this other stuff, unless they're just doing this for the show.
Woven textile, but we don't know what type of material it is yet, or what the age of it might be.
As they were lost on the ice, these objects, they just ended up what is pretty much a giant prehistoric freezer. They get frozen, there's nothing there for them to decompose. Okay, it's loose now, and they come out mint condition. Rescuing these objects is pretty much a race against time. We have a small window of opportunity to save these for the future generations.
The next step is to carefully bring them down from the mountain and get them to the museum in Oslo. And there will be different types of analyses. We have found a whole tunic, 1,700 years old. It's the oldest garment in Norway.
When we started collecting these finds, there was a lot of medieval and Iron Age, but as the years have gone by, progressively more stuff that is older keeps coming out. This is the only place in Europe we have a continuous 6,000 years of hunting equipment. It's a unique opportunity to study the past.
We have the best preserved pair of ski from history in the world, 1,300 years old.
We have like shoes from the Viking Age and the Bronze Age, but also some inspired by Roman fashion. It just connects us to all the other things that were going on in the world at the time.
These finds have changed us everything in the understanding of the use of mountain and traveling.
You suddenly have this whole world that we didn't know about 10, 15 years ago.
These snow patches, they are slowly dying, and it has to do with climate change, warmer climate, more rain, humid. The snow ice is melting rapidly, so it's a huge change.
We think these ice patches, they will be gone sometime in the next 20 to 40 years, and they've been here for 7,000 years.
I think every time we are walking around, looking, and you see something you know is extraordinary, it's just your heart starts beating very fast.
Oi, se her da! Det samme greia.
Mostly when I go around, I feel a little bit sad, knowing how it even will be in 50 years. But I also can be very excited when we find things, saving things.
So why I get excited now, like it gives me more meaning, and then even everyone watching is like, oh, what am I going to do in my life? And I haven't found what I want to do. You've got a whole new world waiting for you. Like, I think one of the most exciting things is to be able to uncover something that has yet to be experienced. And it's like, well, like you said, my heart starts racing when we see something. Like, it's a whole, there's a whole new world waiting for us at so many deeper levels. They're going up to Norway on the mountains, but remember all the other countries have got it all. I know that a lot of the roads that are being built and that highway system and all the different things what we see in America is blocking underneath. So all these, now the dams that we've been talking about, and now they're clearing out the dams. Even John McAfee said there's explosion in the bums. I'm on this group at the moment. There's explosions, but the dams are not what you think. He suggests that the darkness is going to be in a few days' time, the 10 days. And it feels like we're getting close with the panic in DC and the politics. So pay attention with that one. But again, all these underground explosions, now we can go, oh, that's because of the tunnels. Oh, what's that? Oh, paedophilia, human trafficking. Pay attention. At the same time, though, it's then, you know, when it says watch the water, there's a scare event, an alien invasion, we're all going to believe it's real. If the world, because it says watch California, watch New York, if that's both at the bottom pieces, and all these hills are inside, again, think about it. Imagine if something did explode and it's like, now there's a massive flipping hole in the road. You're going to panic, regardless if you think you know what's going on or not. So be open to something like that. So here's just a quick one I wanted to show. That was my sign not to show any more of that one. You can go and do it all. And then here, I'll play the first 3 places. Because again, there's loads of spots like this. We just accept, oh, you can't go there. Oh, you can't go there.
This countdown, we have Zone Rogue. Zone Rogue, sometimes called the Red Zone or Zone Rouge, is an area in northeastern France that got destroyed during World War I. After the war, the land was declared 100% damaged with devastating effects on the agriculture. It was said to be impossible to clean, and human life there was said to be impossible.
Hence, France is on the Antarctic Treaty. I think that, remember all the stories about all the mines have been left, and landmines, and we see it on the films and stuff as well. Would you ever go and walk in that if you've been told there's landmines? Would you ever go? And then you hear about stories losing their legs, which again, I'm not dismissing. But how do we know?
So the French government prohibited anyone from going there. In fact, this area is littered with...
And then even the things like Finger Lakes, Hunter Biden Finger Lakes, maybe this is a complete movie and it's saying we're on the finger part next of where the world's going down on this bigger scale. This whole thing is scripted. So we really need to... That's why I feel like just zooming out a bit more.
Human and animal remains and millions of unexploded weapons. So it's literally dangerous to go there. All you need to do is be traveling there and you set off an explosive. That would not end well. In our 9th spot, we have Room 39. Room 39 is a top secret room located in North Korea. The whole location is heavily guarded. They don't want anyone getting into this room. In fact, it's said to be one of the most secret places in North Korea, a place that's already so secretive. It was created in the late 1970s. Room 39 is the meeting place for a top secret North Korean party organization. They apparently get up to a number of illegal activities in that room, like counterfeiting, selling and producing drugs, and selling weapons. Apparently, they bring in $500 million to $1 billion per year through these illegal activities. So yeah, no wonder they don't want outsiders inside of this room. Should anyone try to get in? Well, I'm sure you can imagine what would happen. In our 8th spot today, we have Valley do Habare. Located in Brazil in the Amazon, this area is one of the largest indigenous territories in the world. It's home to a number of indigenous tribes. There are said to be 2,000 individuals belonging to at least 14 tribes living there. In fact, they remained uncontacted with until several years ago. But the Brazilian government has banned anyone from going there.
So look at these people here. If we looked at timeline, we'd say, oh, that was a long time ago in the olden days. Like cavemen, that's now. So if we start viewing the spirals, like, and get rid of time, it's just a discovery, and then it's the story. Like, I've met this person now. They look like they haven't advanced, but they mostly know the land inside out. That's all they've ever known. They haven't seen anything outside of it. They have their own traditions and stuff as well, which they say is normal. Like, we wouldn't know what they get up to. And then on the flip side, on the land, you could make up these stories with even more. Oh, indigenous are there as well. They'll kill you if you go there. Or indigenous there, they'll kill you. You wouldn't know. They're all stories being told to us. However, these people were there at this time, and so are we. And you can imagine how USA and how the Commonwealth managed to take land of all these other countries, where we say, oh, the slaves sold them out. And no, it's just these people just come with a lot more wisdom and weaponry. But it was still, I think, a lot quicker. So our history books would have said they were mostly back there in 6,000 and stuff. I feel like all of this has been the last 2,000 years. All of it. Like the whole of our timeline has been like the last 2,000 years, because it started at Christ.
It's illegal if you do so. This is because they want to protect the people living there. Any contact with the outside world could be dangerous to these individuals. We could transmit diseases and wipe them out. So in an effort to protect the tribes, it's illegal to visit the area.
Viruses, wipe them out. Like, again, we don't know. So this was the one I mentioned, Stalin, at the start. Well, the bottom of the world, the three big nations. We keep saying Russia, Russia, Russia. That's the agenda. And they must have been told, keep blaming Russia. And then it's just but there's a photo there with the cross hands, Winston Churchill and Stalin. Stalin killed millions of people. And how do we know now, knowing Harry Truman? Quite a lot of interesting stuff on that. He is honest but smart as hell when Truman met Stalin. It's the handshake. A lot of stuff on Harry Truman's site. Look, and again, look at this. Jewish communities of pre-war. I was trying to find out how many Jewish people. So before the Nazis took over power in 1933, planned, all of it planned. You tell the Rothschilds, fund both sides. You tell this, that, they're all in control. Again, we didn't have movies. We didn't have the news. We didn't have internet. You just tell people there's a war over there and everyone stays underneath the underground with sirens. You wouldn't have a clue. Throw a few smoke bombs. How would you know? We fell for the moon in 1969. So you can imagine in the World War, people wouldn't have had a clue. God forbid they indigenous should teach us something. God forbid they should teach us something. Oh, yeah, they will. They have. They're the advanced civilization. We call them Hebs, because advancement is really the truth at simplest form. We can then take the advancement to them to show them what they're capable of. I think they're already in tune. It's like cutting my hair like that next time. I missed that on this chat. So let me just get a few more. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was just again on the Freemasons. And we say Google's bad, Twitter's bad, and we created all of them. It's on the internet, and all we've taken over them now. So look, Freemason, Google, images, leaving clues in plain sight. So how do you get to know what people are? What people search. Facebook, we took over that. That was called LifeLog originally, a CIA project. We are told it's evil people taking it all, but beyond that, we are. And we're a level underneath the evil. Look, 666. So you keep evil people working for Google. Look what we're doing. We're surveilling. But we're the one that gives it meaning. But the Google Mail, look, it's the envelope sending the truth in plain sight. G on the compass. Now you know why the compass is, because it spirals. Only the people at the bottom would have understand the compass, because the people at the top and the storytellers and stuff only live life in 2D. So the way that you described it as reading, and G stands for God. So I think this is massive. My mind's just gone off. And all I encourage people, try to now start. Meditation is the best way to do it. But go to the start at the top of the earth. I did one today, actually, and tried to give us a guided one where we all guided it together. Imagine like what it would be like where we all connected. Imagine where people can't find God and they get really frustrated with those people smiling and beaming, and they say that they're getting all these downloads and insights. Some of them said that there's Palladians and stuff. So let me come off of here. That's 3.5 hours. It's a big one today. So people, I hope you enjoyed that. It completely gives you a whole new dimension. Everything you've now learned, you could say, actually, it has been a truth. I've just been looking at it from the wrong dimension. See if you can look from the higher perspective, going up, coming down. So if you've got any injuries on your body, they always say start from the foot up. Start from the neck down, the head down. You've got 7 bones in the first one called your cervical, one at a time. All you can do is go forward, back, and twist, 3D. So you do, right, that's my first one. Now second one. You'd learn your body inside out if you went that way down, because you just learn one level at a time. And then you get to here. I can imagine this is the body where Moses split the oceans. Then you got 2 lands. Like, again, it could be all symbolism. Well, I know it is. It's a mirror. But Harry, isn't it cool that there are all these different perspectives? It's amazing. That's how we learn. And again, you can't go, no, you're wrong. No, that's not right. No, it can't be. And look who's the one doing it. The ones that are living in the bottom of the world. No, that's not the truth. You're pointing up there from a story that you've never met to a story that's been passed down, translated, loads of different names and replacements. Jesus, yes, us. Yahweh. So the Old Testament and New Testament makes sense. That was most of the Old Testament was going up, and the New Testament was right at the top going down. And it's both of them are still a story that's to be continued, because that's life. It doesn't end. It ends for some people that choose to stick in that story, Revelations. There's it's going to change for us too with the change. I don't really understand what you're saying. We'll go back and watch it from the start again. I've explained quite a lot. It's going to be tough for people to understand if you're not coming from a creative space. And if you haven't looked at any of my work before, this will be challenging for people. I would say go watch it back from the beginning. Do one of my meditations. My last 3 that I post on YouTube are all on this. And I feel like it makes you make more sense of it. Watch my spiraling one. I've done a 2-hour one on that one. 7 cervical, 28 thoracic. So it's 7 cervical, 12 thoracic. And then you've got the sacrum, the coccyx. What else have we got? Sacrum, medium. Well, here was my anagram. So it's 712554. And I remember this from college. It was, I'll say it. CUNT, tasting, lumbar, lesbians, taste, come. That's how we remembered it. So that's how I remembered the spine. But it's 712554. So 7 down the first part of the cervical. Serve, I, cow. Cow is heat. Serve, I, heat. Heat, I, serve. Calorie is energy. Serve, I, energy. Energy, I, serve. It's all in plain sight. Got to have uneased understanding. It's got to challenge you. Again, that's my response to a lot of things now when I read the words like that. I don't understand. You have to take the time out now, people, to go and look. You can't be. This is life. This is education for all of us. It's a school. So on that as well, I do ask for your support. So comments. above anything else, a comment goes a long way. Like, I do all this out of my own back. This is all my own insights. This is my own passion, and this is for the greater good. If you can support, buy me a coffee. A coffee goes a long way. And I say this because it is energy exchange. My ego goes off a lot of time. Think about service in terms of what you pay for. Think about how you feel. Add that up across the month. The meditations on its own, I guarantee every day you feel better. That's the worth of service. Like, this is education for our soul, it's soul development, but this is preparing us for the new world. So if you can support in that way, I do really, really appreciate it. It helps me. And again, this sort of stuff now, if I could find people who are going off to Norway and stuff and being able to sit with people that know all this stuff, can you imagine where we can go with it? And then the last thing, people, sharing. If you can do anything, sharing. And I know sharing is difficult and some of the stuff I put out, but don't argue with it. Just say, go and watch it and tell me what bit after. Take the onus off of you. So yeah, that would be amazing. All the links are always in here. I back doing the meditations daily now as well. So they're on Telegram if you want to do them live. That's powerful. And on my YouTube channel, I post them all on there. I've got to listen to this again. Mind blown. Thank you, Wigspot. Thank you for staying all the way through. To understand this, you have to get outside of your ideas and what you do think of things work. Look at the bigger picture. And Veronica Rabbit, look what you just wrote there. Thank you. To understand this, so inside your body, you have to get outside of your ideas. The ideas is your mind. So get outside. Meditation. Literally, just do a meditation. That's when you make sense. You make the senses in your body. You feel it to make sense. You give it meaning. Soul, mind, body. We're starting from the body and the mind. No, it don't make sense. But we've never even been at the soul. God, love. It has to come from the soul first. So I really appreciate everyone on here. Came in late. Love all your teaching. We'll watch in full tomorrow. Please do let me know what comes up for you. And guys, if you can support me as well in terms of information on this sort of stuff. Because remember, this is a new world. We're all going to be exploring. Like, whoa, what is really that about? All the different things now from the Taoism, from Buddhism, they're just different periods of where the sun comes down. So yeah, it's magic. It's magic. And keep an eye on the Speaker of the House. I feel like Trump's going to be coming in very soon just to show people. But you can see how much of that is a movie now. So when someone said, how do I get out of the Matrix? Or when are we going to get out and watch? Like, don't get caught. Whatever they're showing you now, that's going ahead regardless. It's a movie. It's going in the same direction. I take people back to 2020. 2020, Donald Trump's in control. Military's in control. What have we learned since then? We knew that back then there's pedophiles, there's human trafficking, there's corruption all over, there's money laundering. We knew about all this: Hillary Clinton, Biden, Hunter Biden, Julian Assange, Pizzagate. We knew about them. So what's changed? We've just learned more in depth about all these different things. So it's like the top of the map again. Before, all the water's all there, all sea level. And then it's going down and we're going down. And why I say that one, Tom Hanks. 2020, everyone learned about Tom Hanks. That was the truth at the start. We learned it all. We remember that bit. How much of new stuff in the last 3 years have you learned about Tom Hanks being evil? New stuff. Give me one thing. All you see is out in there now creating films, giving all his donations to the military, doing speeches, creating with his wife, acting with his family, winning an award. So what evil have you learnt about him, considering what we've learnt about everything else in life? What about Ellen? What has she done bad since all that stuff? Yeah, she's taken out. Yeah, when they're taken out, you're finding more and more evil about all this stuff. You can't. It's a story. It's a movie. We're in the movie. The Matrix is the movie. It's the mind. It's all been controlled. It's the Truman Show. We have the opportunity to get out. Love, creation, connection, creativity. Perfect. Where's Cappy? Hiding in the new world, most probably. Master of disguises. Mostly playing some of these people, what we're seeing at the moment. Again, all these individual... It's a movie. You wouldn't believe half the stuff that we're told anyway. So to believe Tom Hanks being a pedo, like, you wouldn't have believed that. It had to be so outrageous for you to actually look. And then when you connect the dots, you're like, oh, you've had that experience then. But the world changes with different perspective. It had to be that done. If you look at the military perspective, people chase fame. If we're control of all the Hollywood, all the movie, all the narrative, all the news, all the media, and you can quite easily go and find that out from Harry Truman upwards. Look at JFK's dad's Hollywood company, RKO Productions. Go and have a look in the 20s. These World War, again, they had a space to do it all. So, yeah, let go of attachment to people. It's a movie. It's a movie. I guarantee that most of the names that we were given were good people. Some of the names given are not real people. And everything else is the normal people in society now. The clearing out of the elitists and the politicians, you can see all the step down CEOs. You can see the FBI people step down, CIA, all that when Trump first come in. I would love flying cars already here. Anti-gravity cars, go and search them up. Already here, already good to go. We had them before as well. There's loads to come. There's loads to come. It's the way that we view the world. Like my teachings would be in the metaverse. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, but you're going to see what your eyes can do. You're going to see your life in a different perspective. That's the soul. It's only the mind that gets scared of it. The soul has come to experience as much as it can. And something so far mind-bending, we're not ready yet. When we are ready, we'll be ready. So peeps, take care, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you so much.